Good morning.
What up, gang? Yeah, mocap. It's always had a countdown. you just maybe have not been here when we start, but that's okay. Don't worry about it, bro. I appreciate you being here.
Mocap, did you see Resident Good 4 that I posted in the community server? You were the one person that I wanted to make sure I actually saw that. That shit was so good. I could just, I'll put it up here for everybody. Oh no, it's gone.
He said he saw it.
Okay, I'm glad you saw it because apparently it doesn't exist anymore now that I'm clicking on it.
Did it get deleted?
It probably did, yeah.
Like off the YouTube or something? For
somebody took like OG Resident Evil 4 footage and like ran it through some sort of AI process to make it look like all well lit and happy, and Leon's in like a Hawaiian shirt and like the guy's pushing the giant boulder down the hill is like a big beach ball and stuff. Like it was so good.
Yeah, I feel like you can't do that anymore on the internet. It's not like 2003.
Yeah.
What's up, LFQ? How you doing? Did you have a good weekend? Get lots of beauty rest? Also, mocap, what's got you in here so early, brother? I'm happy to have you, but I don't think I've ever seen you this early. You usually come through stream like Thursday afternoons, you know, or like towards the end of the stream today. I coasted through that time on YouTube where you can parody things. Yeah, dude. But yeah, no, it's cool. I'm curious. Hopefully you're just like
work on time today.
Okay. I was gonna say, hopefully you're just like, man, I miss those Fractal Grove guys. I want to go see what they're doing early today. But no, I'll take it. Glad to have you. I'm good. Just got to work tomorrow, and then have a long weekend. Wait, what? It's like, oh, did you take time off, or is this like some crazy European stuff where you just get like free 5-day weekends sometimes? I guess it would be a 4-day, but yeah. And if so, do you have fun plans? If you don't, and you're just taking some time off, all good, brother. Get some CS surf maps in there, or whatever you got going on nowadays.
Is LFQ a surfer?
Yes.
Okay.
At least LFQ has been a surfer. I don't know if he's a surfer anymore.
I fuck with some surf. I really don't play any Counter-Strike, but I think surf is pretty fun.
Workers' Rights Day. Psh, that's some bullshit. Not in the US, bro. Grind set. No, I'm just kidding. That's unhealthy. Workers' Rights Day is great.
Play some fucking Counter-Strike, apparently.
I haven't played CS in years. Yeah, I'm probably thinking of like over 10 years ago, LFQ, and you're like, dude, what are you talking about? I remember back in the day, like you know, we hung out gaming outside of Twitch in like one of the first, or maybe you were streaming surf maps.
Oh, so you hit me with a mocap.
Yeah, go ahead.
Live to solve a game dev problem. Spawn into a listen level and I don't get input as a client.
Yeah, I want to read his
client, I would imagine. Yeah.
I want to read his whole comment here for anyone who might just be listening. So mocap says, oh, so you both know much about the multiplayer framework? I have the strangest bug where I spawn into a listen level and I don't get input. Yeah, as client and server.
Okay, and you're kind of phrasing it as if this particular level is the problem and everything else works fine. Like, help me narrow down where the problem exists. And I don't know, can you run the same situation not in a multiplayer level and it works fine? Well, if I play a level in Pi as a listen server, everything is great. Okay.
Right side, what's up, brother? I heard you got into some forest shenanigans this weekend with the boys. I hope you guys had a good time.
I got an achievement for placing 1,000 logs.
The log choppers, dude.
But if I go through the flow of lobby and traveling, it breaks. Okay, that is fairly telling. I would imagine. Okay, so if you play the level standalone in Pi, does that mean that you have it like configured with a game mode and a player controller and a pawn where when you hit play, you just like spawn at the player start and then it works right? And then when you're traveling, that's not happening. Am I understanding that correctly? I want to talk about Noita when we're done talking about Unreal stuff. So we're going to shelf that for a second, but we'll talk about Noita.
Yeah, Noita's cool as fuck, LFQ.
That's correct. What's weird though is the correct player controller spawn. So to me, it's sounding like, I mean, like obvious statement. Are you calling possess at any point? Are you calling spawn and possess? I think that's what the node is called. Or are you just kind of relying on like switching to that level to like do what it does in Pi? Because I think that might not be the case, but you're calling possess on the server, okay. It's weird that you're saying the server also doesn't have input. I feel like that's pretty telling of like there just being like some flaw in your transition programming. But so it's been a while since I've done like real straightforward basic multiplayer stuff, but the way I remember it is definitely like when you transition between a level or you do like a server travel or whatever that node is called, like a lot of the time you kind of want to treat what's happening on either side of that travel as like two like completely separate instances almost. It is almost like you were saying, like if you hit Pi on one and you hit Pi on the other, like that's kind of what's happening under the hood, but you have to like go through the entire like setup and spawn and possess flow, which it sounds like you're doing. So again, I'm just kind of like talking through what I would be thinking about here. Your character is spawning. Everything looks normal. You just have no input. That's the only difference.
Yeah, Brightside was.
Brightside honestly might be a better authority on this than me, because I would imagine that it's a game. I can't remember what it's called now. Sorry.
Something dough. It's something dough now. What did you change it to, Brightside?
I got to get my branding right. Dough or die. Okay, yeah. I think dough or die probably has a lot of this actual code in it, so he might know a little better than me right now.
Oh yeah, mocap. When you get home or whatever, and you want to take a look at it, post in the Discord, and we'll help you square it away.
Yeah,
of course.
I'm sure we can figure it out. It sounds like you're really close. There's probably just like one or two things that you need to do a little differently.
Okay, so LFQ Noita. We want to talk about Noita?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so I saw Noita a long time ago. I don't know what made me look at it, but I bought it because I think it's very interesting as like a game designer and a game dev to like look at games like that are doing something interesting. So this dude built like a whole particle system, or no, what is it? Voxels? What did he fucking make it out of? He did like a very, it's like every pixel has physics on it.
It's technically more particles than voxels, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So he made like a special text system that supported like physics on every particle, and then built a game around that. So as a game designer, that is not necessarily the best path to go, but you can sometimes get there, right? And dude got there. It took some time, lots of development. I was playing Noita early days, and it's way better now.
There's like a couple of games in my collection that Vince has gone, I don't want to play this game. It doesn't look like it's for me, but you should play it. And then I tend to play them and like them. And this is definitely one of them. And I bought it and probably tried to play it like 5 or 10 times and never really got that far and didn't really click. And then I think I probably saw like a YouTube video of somebody like playing it correctly and kind of showing off some of the stuff that you can do if you understand what you're doing and stuff. And so I started putting some time into it, and I had a really good time with it. And I definitely did not see a 100th of what there is in that game from what I understand. But like, I kind of get how to play now. I understand how the wand logic kind of works. And it was just a very, very difficult and punishing game.
So mocap, are you talking about the game called Teardown?
I could talk about Teardown too. I played that recently.
Okay, I don't know shit about this.
So I thought this game looked pretty interesting, and I had no idea what it actually was. I thought it was like Power Wash Simulator, but you destroy things, but that's not what it is at all. Like there might be a few levels that are like that, but a lot of it is like really story based, and you are like doing heists almost always. You're like stealing things, but the level design is that all of the things that you're stealing after the first few levels, and they teach you all the mechanics. Like all of them have alarms on them, and you have 60 seconds after you set off an alarm before you get caught. And generally, there will be 5 things you have to steal in a level or something that are all in different places. And so you spend the entire time busting down walls, placing vehicles in correct locations so that you can basically like grab the first thing, start the timer, run around to all 5 of them, and get in your escape vehicle before you leave. And that's the gameplay loop of like every level. And I was like, this is not what I thought this game was going to be.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So like, if you're into that, it's kind of cool. It is like a very interesting looking game, and it plays pretty good. And there's multiplayer now, which might make some of the heists a little less like fucking impossible. They're really hard. But I was just really surprised by it because I looked at it and I was like, oh, this looks kind of interesting, and it was not what I expected at all.
Yeah, looking at the trailer, so I'm looking at Teardown multiplayer, which is obviously a bit different from what was described, but it from far away, it doesn't look like a voxel game. The voxels are really small; they're not like Minecraft voxels.
And it has like ray traced lighting.
Yeah,
yeah.
So it looks good from a distance, but then as you get in closer, you're like, oh, I see all the little cubes everywhere. All this destruction seems pretty fucking sweet. So
yeah, like it does what it does well. It's just like, I don't know. I didn't want to play like heists.
Yeah,
and then like the only other option is like free destruction mode or something like that, which also just doesn't really feel that interesting. So
that's the thing. Yeah. So I think this is kind of the point that I was making is like Noita is kind of a similar thing where someone built some very cool system stuff. But I think Noita is a really good game structured around it because dude made like a, roguelite where every time it's like kind of different, but there's, certain areas that are kind of the same. It's a little like Terraria in a way. It's not a Terraria game. It's definitely an action game. But yeah, it's very interesting. What's up, Call? How you doing? Good to see you, man. I posted a gif of a death I had in Noita. I didn't see the barrel. I want to see this. Because, dude, barrels every fucking time. Let's see.
LFQ, do you know?
Oh, dude, that's so tough.
Do you know some of the like deep stuff that starts to happen in Noita? I'm not going to talk about it, but like, you can just give me a yes or no. But there's so much fucking crazy.
Yeah, so what's very interesting about Noita is the guy that made it like really leaned into systems as a gameplay mechanic. Whereas with Teardown, it looks like they built the systems and then they tried to like make a game over the top of that, which doesn't work as well. So like Noita leaned into the strengths of what the systems were built for and made those core gameplay mechanics. So I know the things I'm saying seem a little hand wavy, but like, I don't know, it makes sense if you look at both, play both, game design perspective, think about that stuff. Noita was a really good way to do it. So, oh, this is the Baba Is You guy? Apparently. I was just looking at that trailer that you were showing or whatever. It said from the creator of Baba Is You.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, that makes sense because Baba Is You is very similar. Dude made some systems and then built a game out of it.
If I click on the developer on Steam,
maybe it's the publisher.
No, self-published. Yeah. Let me look at Baba and see.
Maybe he was saying if you like Baba Is You, you'll like Noita, but it was definitely in the fucking this trailer that you were showing. It was like text overlaid. Baba Is You rules. Yeah, it's not a game for me, but I definitely recognize that it's a cool game.
Oh, they made a Baba Is You update to Noita.
That's it. Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. I do think so. Like typically, it hurts my head. Best headache ever. So I think that engineers that make games make a very specific kind of game, and sometimes they just miss. I would say more often than not, they'll end up missing. But on occasion, you'll get engineers that can make something very, very compelling with the systems that they made that are very fun to play with. So like Noita is that. Baba Is You is that. It's, you know, a game based around like programming is like the core mechanic. So like you're basically like learning some core concepts to programming by playing Baba Is You. If you already know these, there you go. Baba Is You, the Swapper Cran, something, whatever, just popped up on the thing. Anyway, so if you're a software engineer, Baba Is You is kind of like a second nature type of a thing. Like you'll start to, it just clicks really easily. So for me, looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I don't have any desire to get that deep into these things and like think about games in that way. I just like being a, you know, smooth brain action gamer. That's kind of my favorite thing. So,
well, I want to ask you something about what you said, because you were saying like something along the lines of like some devs will like have one good game and then like try to make something wildly different and it won't go so well. That made me think of two things. One, do you think Notch can be successful with the second game that he's making, this like dungeon crawler thing? Or is that going to be weird? Because
I think it remains to be seen. Because like, so the way Notch built Minecraft is he crowdsourced the game design.
Yeah.
Minecraft wouldn't have been successful without his community telling him, you should add this, you should add that. So that is where I go, I don't know if Notch has the game design ability to look at like what the whole player experience is and make a good game out of that. But he has enough money to hire people to make those choices for him. And if he can do that in a positive way, then he could make something really good. But I think on his own, just looking at Minecraft, I don't think Notch could do it as a game designer. I think he can build very cool stuff technology wise. So
and then the other one that it made me think of that's a little more relevant right now is Beyond Sandbox, which I don't know if is going very well. Came out a day or two ago now, and especially on the VR side, which you know I pay a little bit more attention to. Nobody is happy. I haven't seen a single person saying anything positive about it. A lot of people saying, "Oh, my money back. I feel like I got ripped off." This is So it's unfortunate to see. I wonder if Burnt Pineapple will come through. He's the sandbox expert around here.
I think that's where it's hard, because I see a lot of potential and some very cool shit that engineers make. But being a game designer, I'm like, this is how I would make this fun. And so, you know, I feel for them, because I'm like, you spent a lot of time building something really fucking cool, but the game isn't there, you know, like you made this really cool thing, but there's no real game around it. My assumption is that's what's up with Sandbox.
The other thing that I saw about Sandbox that I was talking to Vincent Adder about is that one of the default like tutorial levels in Beyond Sandbox is like straight up Unreal assets, and it's not made in Unreal, so I don't think you're supposed to do that. I'm trying to find the picture here. Yeah. Open media link. Yeah. So here you can see this is like the Beyond Sandbox demo level, and it's like straight up that Unreal like demo scene content examples. There's a blueprint in Unreal to make these rooms. I showed you guys the one that I made where I like swapped it out with our logo and stuff. They've done that and they put it into their game that they shipped, and like I think this might be the first level that you go into that kind of like shows you all the mechanics and stuff like that. And this shit's crazy. I feel like they're not gonna be able to get away with this, but we'll see.
It might get in trouble
good either. It's like the floor's all wrong and stuff. Like, I don't know.
As I was talking to Tony about this, I was thinking, so this could have been a couple things. This could have just been like the developer was not aware and they might be like, uh-oh, and like get into some trouble. But because Epic is going through like the Disney acquisition thing, they may not care. They may not have the time or the resources to invest in going after this guy. So he could have done it strategically or just been lucky with timing. Who knows? Epic might be like, fuck that. We're gonna tell them to change this stuff, which would be a problem for the guy making it.
Well, and like this is a UGC program. So like when I first saw this, I was like, okay, so some UGC person went and made some Unreal assets and put them into the game. But every time I see a clip of this game, it's somebody in this level. I'm fairly positive it is the first thing it puts you into when you play it.
Mocap, I'm looking real quick. There was a 1.5 billion equity investment in 2024 from Disney. It looks like they have expressed interest. I don't know if we have any public information anymore about the acquisition.
I think there was just a lot of speculation when all of the Fortnite drama was happening that.
Yep, it's about the acquisition.
Yeah.
So they laid off over 1,000 employees. They cut 500 million in costs for operations. So all of that, like, speaks highly to these are business decisions based around an acquisition, right? Like that's what it looks like to everyone. Some Disney executives see the acquisition as a natural fit, while others believe it could be a bad idea. Okay, so it looks like maybe Disney's trying to figure this out. This is an AI overview. The company is also navigating other high-profile deals. So, for example, the 1 billion OpenAI Sora deal looks like it fell through, and that's why Sora is shutting down. Maybe I don't know.
They said Sora was losing them over $1 million an hour or something like that, I think was the number I heard. So.
I would bet that's why Disney was backing out, and they were like, "No, we're not going to do this because you guys have not been able to fix your business model to be profitable and whatever." What's up, Our Drong? Yeah, chump change, dude. When you're Disney, yes. I mean,
I was losing OpenAI $1 million an hour, but yeah.
Yeah, I was saying the 1 billion deal to acquire Sora. I was thinking like maybe he was saying that was chump change, but still, like, $1 billion is an absurd amount of money. Like 1,000 millions is very hard for people to wrap their brains around. Like, you have to think about it in like little chunks of objects, and when you think about it that way, like the scale of that is insane.
Like, get $1 million 100 times and then do that 10 times.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
And like a stack of 1 million, and then you have 1,000 of those. Like, that's fucking crazy. Maybe people will fork it. The EULA, we can use the last version before a new EULA, right? Were you talking about Sandbox with that, Mocap?
I might be talking about Sora.
Oh yeah, are you talking about Sora?
I think Sora was not open source, so probably not. But I don't think Sora was anything special. It was just an accessible video generator that anybody could use. There are plenty of tools that probably do a better job. That if you want to get nerdy and like run a local model or something, probably going to do better for you anyways. So yeah,
I used Sora a little bit for Dread prototyping. It was okay. It was, I would say, kind of on the same order as like using Midjourney 2.5 years ago, right? It was tricky. Oh, you were asking about Unreal. So you're saying, yeah, this might be the Sandbox thing. So you're saying that maybe the Sandbox guys can get away with it because they're using like an old version before a new EULA? I think those are retroactive. I would assume they are, because it would be like a weird business decision to not make them retroactive, because then everyone would just use old versions and never use the latest. So they would want to incentivize people to use the latest versions for products that they make with Unreal. I think it's a better business model. But I don't know, honestly. I really don't.
I'm trying to look here. A lot of the questions that I see are like, can I use like a fab asset I bought in Godot if it's for Unreal? And everybody's like, yeah, you paid for it. But like, that's not what I'm asking. Can you use like Epic Games assets in Unity? How about that?
I still call it Godot.
Okay, here we go. Unreal Engine Marketplace FAQ. Can I use these products in other game engines like Source or Unity? Any marketplace products that have not been created by Epic Games can be used in other engines unless otherwise specified. Please note that products purchased from the marketplace cannot be sold back to the marketplace after alteration. This means you cannot use assets created by Epic Games, such as Paragon, MetaHumans, as well as assets owned by Epic Games, such as Quixel Megascans and other engines, but the vast majority of Unreal Engine Marketplace assets can be used in other engines. So Yeah, they can't be doing that.
Yeah, they're gonna get in trouble. If they did do that, if they can prove that they just made their own versions that look exactly like it, they might be okay. But yeah, I wouldn't want to get into that dispute anyway. It's easier to just make your thing not look exactly like it, make it different.
And that, like, demo room, I guess it looks nice, but like, if you're somebody who can make beyond sandbox, I feel like you have the ability to make something. You could even just copy it one for one. Like, I don't know.
So if Disney buys Unreal, we can use the old one. I remember when Unity was crashing out. People were talking about how with Unreal EULA, they can't retroactively change the agreement for the version you're currently on. Yeah, but so my thought is this. I think Epic probably has a really solid boilerplate that is retroactive to the previous versions. Unity is a much younger company, so they may not have that. But like Epic is fucking huge by comparison with the money that they make and the legacy that they've had for decades of building.
And it does seem like they've got it pretty dialed in with how their licensing works and everything else. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we don't know. We would have to see how Epic handles it. They might be cool with it. You know, they might be like, yeah, it's totally fine.
Yep.
We're not going to do some scummy shit because they don't really want to. They can't damage their user base, especially if they're like considering, acquisition by Disney. They
changed their license terms so that like filmmakers and like viz dev people had to pay differently than game devs, and I feel like that applied to every version. It wasn't like if you use UE4, you don't have to pay those fees. Like, I think it was just like, those are the fees you have to pay now, depending on the industry you work in. I don't know where it cuts off. It's like, are they still charging license fees for Unreal 3, or is that open source at this point? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And to your point, they can go back on anything they want. Like, they're Epic Games. They're like one of the most valuable companies in the world. Like, if they want to fight something legally, they have the power to do it. And I don't think many people are going to be able to stand up to them aside from Disney and Apple.
Yeah.
So,
My Drong, you got to say hello again to LFQ because he said hello to you again. You guys, you got to keep the fucking loop going, you know? Disney might just not want to pay the fees, so they'll just buy Epic instead. Yo, actually, that's a fucking good point, LFQ. Yeah. 5.3 onwards or something. Yes, the loop continues. I misclicked on my keyboard. No, it's okay, LFQ. You're a nice person. You can own that and be like, nah, I was just saying hi again. Maybe it was 5.4. I don't know, man. I haven't read the EULAs. I got like deep into that shit, if I'm honest. I mean, most people don't read it.
I look forward to the day where we have to give Epic Games some money, because that means that we sold a game. So
yeah. And it sold enough that we had to give Epic.
Yeah, because like I think you have to make $1 million before you have to give Epic Games money. So
yeah, I mean, we'll find out real quick because they'll be like, knock knock, pay up. No, you guys are fine. It's okay. You guys can say hello to each other a bunch. I was like, I wasn't even trying to give you guys shit for that. I appreciate it. I like the friendliness in chat. So let's see. Let's talk about some of these other things. I had some interesting shit to discuss. Okay, I can start with this fucking Kotaku article that I don't like reading Kotaku. However, I thought this was interesting. A couple days ago, a friend of ours was like, hey, do you know about the Shuhei Yoshida thing? So he is the former head of PlayStation Worldwide, or Sony SIE or whatever, Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide, for like over 10 years, but he was suddenly replaced in 2019. I guess he had a talk recently, like last week, where he was kind of discussing that. This was at Australia's 2026 Alt Games Festival over the weekend, like a week ago or something like that. He shed more light on the nature of his demotion in his final years of Sony. I think we talked about the demotion, and then he just quit after that because he was like, this is fucking stupid. So he says, I helped Santa Monica make God of War, Naughty Dog make Uncharted, and The Last of Us, Sucker Punch make Ghost of Tsushima. So as like he's the guy who was like, we should do these things. Here's how the things work for our brand and platform. So he was kind of the steward of those those concepts for making good Sony first party, which is obviously like what Sony is standing on right now. And I think why they're beating Microsoft is because Microsoft doesn't have a good first party right now. And I mean, Adder, a bunch of us have talked about this and speculated like this is potentially why they're not doing great. It's interesting to see the Asha and Booty shake up instead of Phil Spencer and all that over at Xbox. Ghost of Tsushima was one of the last games that I worked on as the president worldwide, but in 2019, after 11 years leading first-party development, I was fired from the role. Jim Ryan wanted to remove me from first-party because I didn't listen to him. He added with a smile to reporters and added with a smile to reported laughter in the room. So I guess he smiled and people chuckled at it. He asked to do some ridiculous things. I said no. And then he didn't go into any further details about that. But let's see, many of the studios purchased have been closed or faced layoffs, and many of the live service games have been canceled or failed at launch. The most infamous, obviously, is Concord. Former chairman of SAE Worldwide, Sean Layden, departed the company in 2019, just prior to Yoshida's demotion, with no real explanation at the time. He later insinuated he was a casualty of the new live service push. Okay, so it seems like, according to this article, these guys are reading between the lines saying that Yoshida and who the fuck was this other guy that was demoted? I just said his name. Sean Layden. So Sean and Shuhei both left around the same time because they were like, we should not do a live service push. And I'm guessing that fucking, what's this guy's name who was the new head? Herman Hulst and Jim Ryan were like, no, we need live service stuff. And I'm guessing Shuhei was like, that's fucking stupid. We can't do that. Like, that's not going to work. So Layden says, to be honest, the company was making some strategic decisions about where they want to take the platform in the future with a heavy emphasis on games as a service, live service gaming, subscription formulas, recurring revenue, whatnot. That was kind of not my wheelhouse. So yeah, it sounds like Layden and Yoshida were like, no, dude, like this is not a good idea. And, Ryan and Holst were like, we got to do this for the future. And then obviously made a huge fucking mistake with Concord, potentially another one with Bungie. I mean, that was like a over 3 billion acquisition. So I don't know. These guys might have been right. We'll see what happens. My personal stance is that they are right. I think that they know what the fuck they're doing. Obviously, they made good calls with like God of War and the other shit with Naughty Dog and stuff. Like they know what they're doing. They made good choices. So why would you tell them to like get in fucking line or get out the door? Like that's crazy to me. So that's kind of my take on this. Yeah, very interesting. So it sounds like these guys were not on board with the whole Concord model, and they probably were opposing the Bungie buyout. I would venture a guess that the Bungie buyout conversation was happening in 2019 because, let's see, Pete left in 2003, 2004, something like that. 2004, 3 years after the acquisition vested, he like took his fucking money and dipped. So Bungie's, in that position because of other business, like their own business leadership doing things that other business leadership thought was a good idea, and is obviously causing them a lot of financial trouble now. So poor choices. I think that's just kind of my take on that. We can now talk about Monument Valley because I think this fits in the same vein, but kind of something that Tony and I have talked about always at the beginning of Fractal Grove, like we've said it on stream. So Monument Valley was this mobile game that I thought was really interesting. It was one of the first games that was dedicated to like mobile or something like that. I remember it being kind of like this big deal back in like 2013 or something.
Like when the iOS arcade launched or something. This is like a headline game. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so the headline here is the Monument Valley boss says it was too romantic about giving staff long-term job security and thinks that contractors are the future. So, you guys who've been around the channel for a while, you've heard me always say, like, this is a gig business and not like gig economy as in technology, but like entertainment. You're working in gig. you work your project and then you look for new work. You have to always kind of be in that position, because if you think you're going to work at a studio for the rest of your life, it's just not fucking realistic. Game studios are a huge risk. So I've said, we want to work with people who are excited about our projects. We prefer to do a contract basis. Like, if you want to be on this project, work on this project. If you don't like the next project, we'll help you if we can, but you should be looking for something else, right? Like, that's kind of the idea. And it's nice for me to hear that, the successful studio that had some good partnerships with their product were like, shit, we fucked up. We spent too much and had the wrong business direction with being like, you'll work at Us2 Games forever, and we'll take care of you. We're a family, all that other shit. They were like, this was a mistake. The chair of the UK games industry trade body, Uki, I don't know, CEO of Monument Valley Studio, Us2 Games, says it's becoming less viable for smaller studios to retain long-term employees. Absolutely. I don't think it was ever viable. I think that's kind of a crazy idea, because you have to think about operations costs. There's a lot of downtime in between projects where you're like, we need to make something new. We have to be very careful with our funding, otherwise we'll go out of business. And so I think that's what they're talking about. Maria said the studio's been making games that cost between 7 million and 10 million pounds sterling, with production cycles lasting 3 to 4 years, noting we need to lower that. That is
Monument Valley 2 and 3?
Potentially. They didn't necessarily say exactly what it was. Just under 30 people now, down from a peak around 40 when Monument Valley 3 was in development. So yeah, I think you're right on that. I think they were talking about those dev costs. So guys, think about this. A studio with like 40 people takes $7 to $10 million in a cycle of 3 to 4 years. That's normal. That's why AI is important to the games industry. It's not to replace people, but to shorten that process of 3 to 4 years down is fucking critical, because that burn through is very hard to maintain, especially in the early, time of a project as you're like really solidifying the view of it. I hope you guys can see this shit with Dread, right? Our initial goal with Dread was to make something that was like 20 to 40 minutes long, finish it in 1 to 2 months. We're going on 6 months now, and it's looking like it's going to be like a 2-hour game. So like the scope is just inflated a lot, but the game itself is going to be way better. So like, it's all a balancing act. And when you get into planning a business like this and you're looking at Monument Valley, you're like, here's the thing we did the first time. We got to make it bigger and better the second time. Oh shit, this is going to take 3 to 4 years. Our fucking burn through is now absurd, and we're spending a ton of fucking money with no return and just living off of that previous product we had. It's very dangerous for business. You're running a lot of risk towards like just full collapse, and then you have to start all over again from ashes or nothing, right? Like, it's very difficult to do. And yeah, my drawing, you're right. Make smaller games, please. Focus on game design and not art fidelity. Yes, dude. And that's we're hoping we can prove that at Fractal Grove. It's something that we're really trying to do. So, taking these lessons from working in AAA and making games for like 15 years, we're trying to drive in a different direction. Be like, here's how we make it sustainable. We don't have the burden of being a massive studio with these IPs that need to get another release. So you start working on the first game, and then 2 years in, you start working on the second game or expansions before the first game is even fucking finished. That's normally how that cycle goes. Hey, what's up, Warka? Good to see you, bro. We're coming closer to a year of production on Dread. We are at 6 months, LFQ. So we started in October. So yeah, and we're, it was supposed to be like 2 years, and 2 months, and we're coming up on like half a year. That's just the realities of how it goes. Make smaller games. Instructions unclear. Making next gen realism MMO. Yeah.
Bro, you've been spending too much time with Boom.
Game. yeah. You hanging out with Boom, Warka? Is that what you're doing? I don't know if you watch Boom at all.
The club with Boom and Team Vash making next gen MMOs.
Boom is not really making an MMO. Boom is doing VTuber spaghetti hilariousness.
I don't know, man. Some days I think Boom thinks Boom is making an MMO.
Yeah. I will never touch an MMO. Well, you're a smart man, Warka. I know you've had some success out there. You've shipped some stuff. I don't know a whole lot about your career other than some of the projects you've done kind of on your own and like some of the things. Have you done did you work in AAA? Did you you ever been on a huge fucking team that was, hundreds of millions of dollars and seen any of that? Because that's crazy shit. I worked on Destiny for 5 years. So that's how I know. And I watched that sausage get made and I'm like, yo, this is fucking insane. Like, why are people even doing this? I have not. I was prior military doing offensive hacking.
sure.
Game dev was a side hobby. Fuck yeah, dude.
What branch?
What branch?
Mine's
I love that shit. I come from a military family myself, so also here's Destiny.
Air Force, man. He's a fancy boy.
At Chair Force, dude. You got to ride bikes for PT. I mean, you were saying you were you were prior military. Okay, so you were enlisted. You were a service member.
No, that's sick, dude.
So I know it's cliche and I know that it feels bad, but coming from a person who has, many family members and friends who are veterans, I appreciate the service. I understand that it's an all volunteer military force. I didn't, I'm one of the few people in my family that didn't enlist, and I also come from like the 9/11 generation. When I was graduating high school, 9/11 happened. So a lot of my friends all went in. So yeah, I'm pretty close to it. I know it can be somewhat cringe if a civilian is like, thank you for your service. A lot of my veteran friends are like, bro, I ain't dead yet. What the fuck are you talking about? Because that's usually reserved for fucking Memorial Day and shit like that, right? Which is always really weird. But that's cool, man. My family's Navy, also some Air Force on like the mom's side. Aviators, lots of aviators. My dad's a retired naval aviator. I
got a big contingent of friends who are all hackers in the Marines. So definitely know guys who probably did similar things to what you were doing. And sounds like some crazy shit. They can't really tell me about a lot of it, but it will sound very interesting.
Yeah, one of my really good friends does military engineering contract stuff now. He works for RCR, Richard Childress Racing. So he's on like a NASCAR team, but in the off season they do military contract stuff. So here's like a NASCAR single lug wheel nut, which is very cool that he gave me. I think it's fucking sick. Machined from one piece aluminum. It's very fucking cool.
That's metal. That's sick.
Yeah, dude. This is literally like, the torque gun goes over this and catches these teeth, and this goes straight over the fucking wheel hub. So like you can see the threads in there and everything.
Cool as hell.
Yeah, it's very cool. But yeah, he's a cool dude. We talk a lot about like his work and stuff, whatever he can tell me, developing very cool things. He goes to SHOT Show all the time. But yeah. Hey, what's up, Graham? How you doing? It is morning for us, but we appreciate you being here. Yeah, and Warka, thanks. Thank you for coming through. I think we may have seen you once or twice in chat, but no, I appreciate you coming through, man.
Dude, also your Oregon Trail game is looking very sick.
Yes, absolutely.
Turning Cog was playing it and showing it to me the other day, and it's really coming together. It's been moving really fast. We finished. Wow.
Hell yeah, dude.
God damn, dude. I feel like you started that not even that long ago. You guys crushed that thing out.
Are you published? Are you up on Steam and shit? Can we like show it and be like, yo, check out Warka's game? Because we love doing that.
And Error, right? Yeah.
Page is up. Game's not out yet. Bro, let's wish list that shit right now.
I just did. I'll get the trailer up here.
Sorry, say it again. The name literally just
Trail and Error.
Trail and Error. Fuck yeah, dude. You have wish list available?
Yep, I hit it.
Got it. Bam. All right, you got 2 wish lists there, buddy. Yeah, no sweat.
I'll not play this fucking video right now. You can see your nice image at least.
Yeah, of course, man. You're welcome. Yeah, I got to check this out. This could be fun. Co-op survival game.
This mode. There we go. Now I can see your trailer.
Fuck yeah. So Tony's got a bot. Is it a bot? How would you describe it? That like a tool?
This is like a Steam API connection where I can link it into our overlay and stuff.
4.5 months. Fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Like I said, I remember somebody telling us that you were starting this, a couple months ago. So you guys got that shit done quick, and that's looking awesome.
Yeah, LFQ, it's got cheeks, bro. You be out there naked. I think Warka, I remember talking to you about it. I was like, oh shit, they're just out there naked. And you're like, yeah, it's actually game mechanics. You can like, if you're naked, you're in trouble. You got to get clothes so that you can like survive weather and shit. I like that. That's very cool. But we were talking about how the goal for Dread was like 1 to 2 months to finish the whole game. But because like, several reasons, part of game dev, we show it and talk about it on stream. We're approaching, we're in the 6 month this week because it's going to be May. We're in the 6th month, so 5 will have elapsed for the development cycle. But the game is coming along really well. We're prototyping some things for the 4th level, and then it's all going to be like, cohesive, and then we can start polishing and finishing things up, and then get that game out. I'm hoping in the next month or 2. We haven't done the Steam page yet. We do have one for so Dread was meant to be a vacation or like a break from our main VR title, Hyperskate, that we were working on. But it's turned into this longer form thing that the team is very excited about. We've had some other people join the team that are helping us with development, which is great. So yeah, we will get that page together. I want to say when we know all the pieces are there and everything is like set up and we're just doing like bug burn down and polishing and all that, that's probably when we'll get the Steam page up. But here, let me drop some links for you, Warco, so you can see what we got going on.
And while he's doing that, can you talk about the nerdy shit a little bit? Like, I don't know if you want to like talk about it at all, but like, did you use any new Unreal systems for this that you hadn't used before? This is pretty big. Are you using like world partition or anything fancy like that, or is it a little more traditional? Did you use any of the like game animation sample system stuff or like any of that?
Warka asks, why not get it up sooner? Start harvesting wish lists. We put the wish list or the page up for Hyperskate, I think, too early, and so we're concerned about that. We did get some wish lists, but it like tapered off, and now it's just up there. And
we just want to have it like,
the game is probably like a year away.
We don't have all the assets. We don't have a trailer yet.
Yeah.
So we're just, when it goes up, it will look really good and it will be ready, and we'll be ready to like kind of do a bit of a marketing push, because we kind of thought we were going to be there on our first one. We're still not there, and we just don't want to squander that opportunity again, because you only get one time to turn your Steam page on, and if you do it right, you can really benefit from it. So
that is super smart, Warka. That's kind of one of the things that we're approaching. Like, this is our first flat game as a studio. We spent the first 1.5 years or so working on Hyperskate, and it was just me and Tony, and there was a lot of like figuring out, yo, let's fucking go. LFQ with the 10 gifters. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, dude.
What the fuck was I saying? Okay, I was talking about Hyperskate. Yeah, so we have a lot of stuff that is good baseline for technology for VR. So we've developed a lot of, dude, the balls just went crazy. Oh, you're dropping bombs.
I'm dropping bombs, man.
Yeah, I was like, yo, what the fuck? The whole board just fucking went off.
Yep.
But yeah, so with Dread, we're developing that catalog of technology and like, boilerplate stuff that you would build a flat game with. So that's another part of it. Tony has made some very fucking cool tech that I think we'll be able to use in many games going forward. That's going to be like, this is Fractal Grove stuff. We figured out how to do this. This is a unique look and feel to our games. So that's kind of where we're at. So it makes more sense that you would be able to get Trail and Error out in less than 6 months, because you had a good baseline to work from. So we're building up that whole toolbox right now.
The only projects we worked on from day one until we started Dread were VR games, and building a VR game, as I'm sure many of you are aware, is just a lot of different problems to solve than a normal game. And so, not to say like I think we've gone into doing a normal game and it's like, man, this is so fucking easy. Like, I have twice as much performance overhead, if not more. I don't have to use forward rendering, like, just all of these things. I don't have to put a headset on every time I want to test it. But there's also like a lot of like just traditional flat screen normal stuff that we've literally never done because of that. And I think, like Vince said, we just kind of been building that toolbox up, and we're going to come out of this process with a lot of things that will really go back and benefit the VR games and anything else we do in the future. So it'll be good.
Yeah. And to be clear, we are not done with VR. We were never a VR first studio. We want to make so many different things. And like, that's the whole goal here. We don't want to limit ourselves to flat games, VR games, 2D or 3D, right? Like, admittedly, though, I would be like, we shouldn't make a 2D game because 2D is, a lot of people think that's easier to make. It's way fucking harder. Like, sprite sheets and shit are a tremendous amount of work that I'm fully aware, like, don't dive into that. It's going to be a disaster. Which reminds me, oh my God, I'm going to say it and then she's going to come through. I still have not fucking played Queen Anne's new build of Endless U, and I meant to play it yesterday, but I got way too deep into some Dread stuff and totally fucking forgot.
I keep meaning to play it too because I saw some people posting how many lives it took them to beat it in the community server, and that made me want to go try and see if I could do better than Brightside. So,
but yeah, no, I remembered it and I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna summon Queen Anne and she's gonna be like, so what do you think? And I'll be like, fuck, I'm sorry, dude, I haven't played it yet. So yeah, I'm gonna play it today after stream. I'm gonna get that in there, and then I'm gonna hit her up and talk.
But if you guys want to support a community member, Queen Anne posted their game somewhere in our community server, maybe in Game Together self promo or something.
I'll find it real quick.
You guys should go check it out and give them some feedback. I think there's a form built into the game, right?
Yeah, I don't know if she's got it attached to the latest version, but yeah, there was typically like a spreadsheet. So I talked to her about it. She was having a rough time with processing some of the feedback she was getting. In the way she was doing it, just for you guys, if you're indie and you're running playtests for the first time, don't fucking do this. Don't put a survey on the end that gathers all that survey information and throws it into a spreadsheet. So she was just literally reading like anonymous feedback in a spreadsheet, and people were saying negative things. And I'm like, dude, you're doing fucking psychic damage to yourself. Don't do that. You're not at that point in the project yet. So she reworked some things and then sent me another build so we could talk about it. But like, I was like, dude, if you're just sitting there reading like cell after cell of like game is mid, I hate this game, or like whatever, it's not going to help you. That's not good feedback. It's just harmful. Lean on the brain trust of people that have given you good advice. Talk to them, talk to them directly. If you want to do these anonymous play tests, make sure you're sitting down like one-on-one and you can watch someone playing. So even when they say like game is mid or game is not for me, you can see where they're getting frustrated. You can watch where the player is like, where they take a turn. You can see where they're having fun. You can see where they're not having fun. And then you can adjust those parts of your game. That's how I love to do playtesting. We got some Steam frame convos going on. Oh, wait, do you guys have any worry that VR is dying out? I haven't looked into it recently. Yeah, I mean, I think that's always a concern, but my thought process is this, and, Tony and I talked about this a lot in the early stages of working on VR. Dude, what was it, like 2 years ago? It was like nearly 2 million headsets are out there, like Meta Quests are out there. And in the market, there's like 10 games that hold the entirety of the market share, and all those games are kind of the same. They have this,
and all of them came out a long time ago.
Yep. And they all have this like certain old school feel of what VR is, which is like everything's got motion controls. You get really tired or start feeling sick after like 20 minutes in. So
here we go.
What's that?
Here's the top 25 today.
There you go.
This is on the Meta store, but Beyond Sandbox is the only probably new one that we're going to see on here.
Yep.
I guess Little Nightmares VR might count too, and Contractors Showdown. This is an update, but yeah, I mean, you look here, Gorilla Tag 2022. The next one down, Beat Saber 2019. The next one down, VR Chat 2017. Like this is still the 5th most popular game on Quest, and we got Bone Lab here. We got like, I'm surprised Boneworks isn't on here. Oh, I guess this is Quest, so there isn't Boneworks for it. But yeah, Ghosts of Tabor. It's just the ones you would expect. Poker Stars. Like, I think Yeeps is like Gorilla Tag. That one has gotten pretty popular, but it's just like a clone of Gorilla Tag. I think Animal Company also is. And yeah, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is from 2020.
So one of the things I want to throw out here that I think is interesting about this is the cost is that what, like half of these are free to play.
Yeah, VR
That's
chat
not
absolutely
great.
is.
That's not great. Like, how do you monetize that user base, right? Like, all through MTX and shit, which is not great. So one of the things that we've been talking about, one of the things I think is really important in VR is to get away from that full motion control shit. So we've got subtle motion control in Hyperskate, but Hyperskate is intended for you to be able to sit in a chair and game like you're gaming on any other console. So there is motion control stuff, but it's not core mechanic things. You don't need to stand up and wave your fucking arms around and like get tired in 20 minutes. Like, that's the fatigue is real as fuck in VR. And yeah, Cyborg is saying Resident Evil VR made me puke. Comfort is another thing that's really, really important. And I think that's why you see a lot of these VR ports, because it's like easier to port to VR instead of making a bespoke VR experience from the ground. Because like when you're doing that, you're trying to determine what are the mechanics that make VR fun? What is the unique thing to VR that you could never do in a flat game that it has to only be in VR? So we're starting with those concepts first and building out the fun of Hyperskate. And we hit some very cool, interesting shit. So
what if you didn't puke from comfort and just puked from the moldy food on the tables in Resident Evil 4?
Or like how much fun you're having. You had so much fun that you puked.
Yeah. The guy with the chainsaw cut Leon's head off and it made me puke. Like,
yeah, it's Rec Room that's shutting down Warka, not VR chat.
VR chat isn't even VR specific. It has VR in the name, which is funny, but you can actually play it flat screen. And again, it's one of the most popular games on the system, despite being almost 10 years old now.
Oh shit, LFQ is going to be a frame user? Fuck yeah, dude. Love to hear that.
We'll play all of the classics when it happens.
Yeah, Cyborg, for me, the first VR experience that made me very uncomfortable was Skyrim VR on PSVR, because I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. It's fucking terrible. It's the worst VR port I've ever played. They do things where, like in Skyrim, when you have cutscenes, like, so just think about the very beginning when you're riding on the cart and they put your head on the fucking executioner's block and shit like that. They left those in VR. So you're in VR and it's like yanking your head down to the ground and you're like, what the fuck is this? That's like the first thing you learn about developing in VR. If you play the thing and it takes control away from the player, it disconnects your brain from all your fucking
literally not allowed.
Yeah, it's the your like passive neurological systems. I can't remember what the fuck they're called, but your like inner ear and stuff like that makes you feel balance and like motion sickness and stuff. You're literally just breaking those things immediately. It's really bad. Don't ever do that. Vestibular system. Thank you, Mocap. That's exactly it. You'll puke with fear was the marketing beat for I Bleed. Hell yeah, dude. No, go for it. Go for it. Steal the shit out of that.
What is I Bleed? Never heard of that.
Is it I'll Bleed? Ill Bleed? Yeah, I don't
like an iOS game about making people bleed. Kind of what it
sounds like. Or it's just you're bleeding yourself. I bleed.
It's like a glucose meter for your iPhone.
Dreamcast horror game. Okay. Definitely the frames. Yeah. So Cyborg, that's actually a really good point too. That was something Tony figured out really early on with Hyperskate, was the higher frame rate you get, the more tolerable it is for like fast motion. So in Hyperskate, you're like hoverboarding or snowboarding or surfing at like 300 miles per hour. So you're like hauling ass. Yes, we are in Colorado, Warka. Are you a Colorado guy?
Yeah, I'm in Thornton. Vince is kind of near Boulder.
Yep. Like Louisville, Lafayette, Superior area. Fuck yeah, dude.
Nice, dude.
Well, if you ever want to like meet up and get a beer or something and shake hands and high five about being devs, holler at us.
Down by the Springs. All right. I get down there a lot. That's where my in-laws are.
That makes sense with fucking, Air Force stuff. It is. It's the Warka, dude. Speaking of which, you guys see Alien Isolation 2 teaser? I have not, Sushi. Also, I don't know if I said hello to you, but hello and welcome and congrats on your gifted sub. Alien Isolation with VR mod, and it was great until the cutscenes that took control of your head. Then it got disorienting real quick. Yeah, I can imagine. Dude, we played Tony played Alien Isolation on stream with a heart rate monitor, and the funniest shit was when it would get into these intense moments, his heart rate literally dropped by like 10 BPM, which is the craziest shit ever. He's like, I think this is broken, and we're like, nah, Tony's got ice running through his veins, dude.
I do kind of want to play it in VR after that because maybe it would be a little scarier, and it's a very cool looking game. But man, how scary!
Bro, you moved to the Springs after the military? Oh, so were you still in Colorado, or were you just like, you know what, I want to move to Colorado? It's gorgeous out there. Because like I kind of grew up here. I moved here in the 90s. I'm old, but yeah, I've spent most of my life in Colorado at this point. Obviously moved out to Washington for a little bit to work on Destiny. My dad lived out here, so after I got out, we decided to move here. Nice. So, you know, I'm not trying to shit on the Springs, but I will say that I've been there many, many times. I much prefer like the Boulder area, but you know, I don't know. It's very pretty up here. I'm used to the culture. You know, I went to high school and middle school in Boulder. But yeah, I love this area. It's hard for me to be in the Springs for extended periods of time. Like I was saying, you know, I had multiple friends that were stationed at Fort Carson. So like I've been down to the Springs a billion times. Also, they have some good racing stuff down there, PPIR. We're not near downtown Springs, more northern. Okay, that's actually a nicer area. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, my in-laws live off like Woodman, and it's a pretty nice area over there for sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Warka. Like some parts of the Springs can be pretty fucking depressing, but other parts of the Springs are great. It's a really big area. Cyborg lived in the Springs. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Are you a Colorado guy too? I purchased a house as an investment. Agree. Yeah. I've got friends that live in the Springs right now. I haven't been down in forever. The thing that blew my mind was that I'm under, you know, people have told me that from like Castle Rock to the Springs is like one contiguous suburb now. It's like one city, like the whole fucking way. Yeah, I don't go downtown. We're much closer to Monument. Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I would say it's more like Castle Rock to Monument is like that. And then there's like a little gap before you get to the Springs, but like it's definitely getting there.
Cyborg says Palmer Park kind of sketchy. Yeah. So like the Springs, I think, has the problem of like all the military there. And, you know, as much as I appreciate the military, it's a reality that there are some people who enlist in the military because their options are do that or go to jail for like 15 years. And so you get a wide range of soldier, as I'm sure all of you guys who are familiar with the area or military service can understand. There's a wide range of soldier. Some people don't do super well, and you know they can be pretty shitty. There's also like some gang activity because like soldiers go out to the bars and stuff like that, and then get, you know, into nightclubs, and then there's like gang members that want to fight soldiers, all kinds of crazy shit like that. So, you know, I've got some friends who are retired, but they're NCOs, and they've told me some crazy stories about having to go pick up like, you know, a couple privates, E1s and shit like that are, you know, getting into some fucking trouble out at the nightclubs. So yeah, I do like parts of the Springs, but I think overall it's just it doesn't hit the same as like the Boulder area, obviously. And Boulder itself has changed a fucking ton. Like you know, growing up out here, I remember where I live now, it used to be just farmland. There were like a couple of houses and it was just farmland, and now it's like a fuckload of suburbs. It's like pure suburbs where I'm at. So for those of you guys who haven't seen like the normal vibe, this is usually what we do. Tony stepped away, but he usually does some tech stuff. He's working in Unreal, and then I'm talking about like game industry news and like different things, you know. But that doesn't mean you guys have to pay attention to what I'm saying. I'm here to more interact with you guys and like help the conversation continue. So if you're seeing like what Tony's working on or anything, you know, and you have questions, or you want to talk about tech, like by all means interrupt. You know, don't worry about what I'm talking about. You can be like, hey, what the fuck is going on over there? What's Tony making? Yeah, Yapmaster 3000. So it took a while. It took some time for us to figure out that this format works well for us, but this has been the best. Tony working on something, I'm yapping at you guys, usually talking about the game industry. And then when Brightside comes through chat, he'll start talking about conspiracy theory shit. Like I think last week we were talking about David Wilcock, the guy from Ancient Aliens, and unaliving himself because he lived up in Netherlands, which I didn't even know, which is like just outside of Boulder in the mountains. And that dude like went through some shit, dude. Yo, same Warka. Man comes in here and talks about feet all the time. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? You're crazy. Oh, sushi. That's okay. So flying to Austin this Sunday for that job, getting to know the team, do a final interview. Fuck yes, dude. I hope that goes really well for you. I'm sure that I could give you a couple recommendations about it, but like Adder can probably give you some more recommendations about like where to go in Austin. I'm assuming that you're going to be tight on time. It's probably going to be like you fly in, do the cultural interview the next day, and then like, tie up some loose ends, maybe sign some paperwork or whatever, and then you fly back out. So you may not have a lot of time. Downtown Austin's not that bad. It really isn't. Try a Waymo if you can. The trick to that, if you need to ride in a car, and those are usually just downtown, like in the downtown Austin area, you want to go to Uber and you select luxury or comfort EV. It's one of those two things, and you'll like get a Waymo every time. I thought it was cool as fuck. You should try it out. Monday will most likely be spent looking at places I could rent. Fuck yeah, dude. That sounds like it's like a formality interview and just like Sushi's buying a horse. Oh, you're visiting Texas as well? The fucking cool, man. Where are you going? It's a crazy meta mocap. It actually works. I was thinking about it. It's like we're live streaming TikTok brain rot, if that makes sense. Where like the top panel is like someone doing Minecraft shit, and then the bottom panel is like a reaction streamer. I don't know. It works. People like it. You get good stream chat engagement. You get good, interesting things to look at and like technical information. So
you're talking about the coin poacher?
I'm just talking about like how our stream goes because we've got some newer people coming through. But we are a game studio. We only stream 4 hours a week. We stream Wednesdays and Thursday. Wednesday morning 10 to noon Mountain Time, and then Thursdays 2 to 4 Mountain Time. Because any more than that, and like we're streamers at that point, which is not the whole goal. What we do with the stream is we take the money we get from subs and donations and shit like that, and it goes straight into the studio. So because of wonderful people like LFQ and the rest of the community who sub and donate and all that, we cover operations costs for the studio. So like web server hosting and software licenses, all that shit, so that we can just keep making stuff. So yeah, that's where we're at. Oh shit, I just saw Queen Anne on Steam is now playing a game. Please, Queen Anne, don't ask me if I've played Endless You. Yeah, Sushi's buying a horse. Padre Island. Okay, that's sick, dude. I lived in Corpus Christi for a little bit. My dad lives in Pearland outside of Houston. So, yeah. We did early on look at Mega Grant. It's kind of tricky. Like it's hard to really get a response. Like, if you know anybody, you've got any ins with Mega Grant, and you could like help us make some connections, that'd be really fucking cool. I'll talk to some people.
I think we don't have a ton of interest necessarily in selling tools. I think we've kind of taken the stance that like we're going to build tools for ourselves that set us apart in the industry, and I don't know if that'll count for a Mega Grant. I think that generally are kind of looking for like community contribution and contribution to the engine ecosystem and stuff like that. And like, I'm all for it, but like a lot of the stuff that we build is for us, and I don't know, kind of contributes to like our secret sauce in my mind. And I don't know that I would necessarily want to.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be motivated by the idea of like the Mega Grant, like, and building a tool for that purpose instead of like doing what we're trying to do, which is what we want to do. So
Mark is saying you don't have to do that. You can just make games and like be like, we're Unreal and like all that. So yeah. I mean, if you have some insight to that, I'm open to that. I will always have a conversation with people.
I guess like my response to the game thing is just like, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. My assumption is that you would need to, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little off put about like anonymous form submission, and like if there's someone I can talk to that you could put me in touch with, or like any recommendation of who to reach out to, I'm all for that, because that gets way more traction, 90% of the time. So
I also know, and like this doesn't totally matter, but it is extremely competitive and almost nobody gets chosen. So
yeah,
that has just kind of made me go like, I don't know if I want to like spend the time and energy on that when we could be doing something else. And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I don't know if it means that you have to be like an Epic Store exclusive. I think that would be detrimental to us in the position that we're in right now. So I don't know. I might be kind of misinformed about some of these things, but that's definitely been my high level thought process about a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always down to have the conversation. That's a part of what I do at the studio. So I'm down to talk to people.
Crimson got a mega grant for his game and built a different game with the money, and it seems to be fine. Interesting. Oh, okay. Well, good to know. I appreciate the information.
Okay, Warka, so you're saying just fucking try. Just put in an application, and then, if you don't hear anything, you don't hear anything, but you might get a person to talk to. Because that, yeah, just try it. All right, sick, dude. I'll give it a shot. I was, the whole reason we were streaming in the first place is because I was very off put by a lot of conversations that I had with people in the industry. It's very difficult to get any yeses. Lots of very positive conversations, but like we started doing it when the industry started tightening up and people were like no longer interested in investing in VR. We had a conversation with Meta, and Meta was trying to steer us towards pitching an XR product, and I was like, we don't fucking want to make XR stuff. So, but the person was like, dude, if you got XR, like, you're good to go. I will get you in touch with someone. And I was like, what do you think, Tony? And he's like, I don't want to fucking make XR stuff. And I was like, yeah, me either. So it just kind of stalled that. Let's see, you can get up to 100K free money from that if they like your project. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. We could put some stuff together for Dread and be like, here's what we're doing, hook us up, brother. Papa Sweeney. Have you tried to do any military training games? No. The closest for me, so we don't necessarily want to do training stuff. We've had some other conversations with people about like veterinary surgeon thing, and like that was going pretty well until the guy was like, what do you think it would cost for you guys to push my game along? And I was like, ballpark 10 grand. And he was like, nah. And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to work on that anyway. Tony was not feeling it either. So conversation.
I didn't want to watch pet surgeries to understand how to build a pet surgery in a VR game. And it kind of felt like if I was going to do a good job, I was going to have to do that. So yeah.
So we kind of said no to that. I think so. Cyborg, the thing is, we're functioning now and working on things that make us happy. And that's the important piece. So if we could sign a deal with someone who's like, you guys keep doing what you're doing, I just believe in you. Here's some money so you can go a little faster, build up more of a team with no fucking obligations around what we have to make. No like weird publisher oversight shit where they tell us how to make the thing that we're making. That's creative control is very, very important. So yeah. When I did the application, it took like 15 minutes to fill it out. It was pretty easy, but I haven't looked recently. Yeah, dude, I will take care of that. I'll do that after stream today. Funding isn't my issue now. It's getting eyes on projects. Yeah, marketing is fucking hard, Warka. Really hard. Do you have a social media manager? I know you stream, but if you can get someone to help you with the social media, you can get a lot of attention, especially because you've got an audience already. So if you can keep your audience updated through, that's why I dropped this Linktree thing. We've had people help us with social media. We currently don't have anyone helping us with social media, so it's somewhat dead right now. We just do the streams. Yo, what's up, AAA battery? What the dog doing? What dog? We got dogs in here? Yeah, AAA stable YouTube hero. Sorry about that. I just saw the YouTube chat come through.
Lorca, you beat me to it. I was just gonna say, like, I kind of heard you might be friends with Deadmau5. So, but you said I just need to get Deadmau5 more engaged. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that would probably do it.
Yeah,
he could blow you up about that at all. Because the reason I know about you is because I want to say Brightside or somebody came into our stream and was like, "You guys got to see this Warka guy. He like made some stuff for Deadmau5." I was probably playing a Deadmau5 mix at the time, even, and you co-own the studio with him. Goddamn, that's sick.
I can imagine that, like, promoting your shit like might feel kind of cringe. Like I wouldn't want to do that if I were him and I was like focusing on my music and stuff. But if if he gets like a wild hair and wants to talk about like games or something that he's really excited about, that seems cool.
It's kind of like when I worked for Truffle. It's like I technically worked for Ludwig, but like never talked to him. He never came to any of the meetings. He wasn't like day to day involved. He just had his name on it, which I think helped promote it a little bit.
Yeah, Warka, I obviously lean a lot on like my past work. Our biggest exposure stuff comes from when I talk about working on Destiny or like working at Bungie, and that gets people's juices going and they want to come like look at our videos and stuff like that. But it fucking sucks because I don't want people coming through to talk about Destiny and Bungie. I want people to talk about Fractal Grove and like what we're working on. So I think that's kind of like a big marketing goal for us, is to transition that fan base into this other thing. But a lot of people, the Destiny fans know me as like the Whisper guy, the 0 Hour guy, the Exotic Dungeons guy, like whatever, right? I worked on a ton of shit. And I still get people hitting me up, asking me for like interviews and like all kinds of other stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking talk about Bungie. Like, sure, if you guys will talk about Fractal Grove, like I'm cool with that. But I don't want to fucking talk about Bungie. I left like 6 years ago. So yeah, I want to do other things. He just hates social media in general. Fucking based, Warka. I do too.
Warka, did you make this test pilot virtual venue thing? The video will start playing here soon. This is a mix I play all the time, though. And also, it definitely looks like it's an Unreal to me. But.
Warka, imposter syndrome never goes away, dude. That means you're doing the thing right. You got a good ego check, and you're like, fuck, dude, I'm figuring this out. I don't even know if this is good. That's really good. People I've worked with in the industry who don't do that and think they're fucking amazing make trash, and they make very bad decisions. He made Meowington Simulator. That's cool. That's fucking awesome, sick, dude.
That's really cool. Yeah, this test pilot video has been very influential to a lot of the stream stuff that we've done over the past 2 years.
Cyborg, you said, I'm excited to see what you make to try it. I'm trying to follow. This is the downside to the yapping. I don't fucking know what I'm saying half the time. So I try to keep up with it, and I'm like, wait, where was that fucking conversation thread going, bro? But yeah, imposter syndrome is real as fuck, dude. So Warka, I want to make you feel better about that. I have a good story. When I started at Bungie, I had never made a AAA shooter. There was a guy I worked with who had just come over from Wizards of the Coast. This dude, everyone like wanted to talk to. He was directly on my team. We became like homies and chatted about work and shit. This guy was at Wizards of the Coast for over 10 years, worked on Magic the Gathering. He's one of the co-authors of 5th edition D&D. Like, that dude had imposter syndrome. He was like, I don't know that I know what I'm doing. I've never made a video game before. This is fucking terrifying. And I'm like, you're gonna be fine, Rodney. Like, it's all good. I've never made a AAA shooter, but here we are, bro. Like, we got in the door. They believe in us for a reason, so we're gonna be fine. So like, even that fucking guy has imposter syndrome. It's okay, buddy. Like, don't trip. We're doing a lot of live show stuff too. So more like the video you were talking about.
That's sick, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's very cool. Man just speaks from the heart, all vibes, no mind. I try to use my brain, turning cog. But yeah, I do. I just speak from the heart. That's very true. I think, for some of you guys who've gotten to know me through stream or like off stream and like worked with us and stuff, I'm this person all the time. This is not like an act, I'm just me, for better or for worse. I think that's the risk. That was kind of like the idea with the stream. I've always thought that there was this huge fucking disconnect. Yeah, hold on. I got you on that, Cyborg. You're good. You can say that. So I think there's a huge disconnect, especially at the AAA level, between gamers being the audience and the game studio itself. That's why we had this fucking weird culture war and like fighting on social media between game devs calling gamers chuds and shit like that. That's fucking stupid. Like, it's really stupid. Those are the people who are supporting you and giving you the job in the first place. Like, you don't have to bend over backwards for them, but just have like a real human conversation. And like, instead of going, you wouldn't get it, you've never made a video game. That's the fucking point of the stream. We want to explain why shit is hard. That's why we've been showing, Dread Day 54, right? And you guys saw day 1 of Dread. So you saw the scope change, you saw different parts of the project, you've seen the goal for the project, where it started and like where it is now. Like that's the whole idea. It's risky, it's scary. People are going to be mean. They've already been mean to us before. Punching down fucking content creator bullies, but it is what it is. Yeah, Cyborg, I love that movie. Negative, I am a meat popsicle. Yeah, you definitely passed the vibe check, dude. That's for real. Dub's first thing I hear this morning is Chud. Hell yeah, Burnout. The first thing you heard. Wait, this morning? I guess it's 10:30. Yeah, I mean, you could wake up at 10:30. That's fine, buddy. I'm super mean to you guys all the time. Get out of here, LFQ. You are not mean. You are a sweet boy. Very kind and supportive. No, I'm just fucking with you, Burnout. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, so I was talking about game news. In like before, people started popping in and we were chatting about other shit. I was talking about Monument Valley and how Monument Valley was like a big game on iOS and stuff like that. 10 years ago or something like that. They found success. They've made a few things, but there was an interview that some of the leaders of the Monument Valley team were saying that it was a mistake and too romantic to think about giving staff long-term job security, and that the future of their studio is going to be in contract workers. One of the things that I've always said about my experience making games is that this is a gig-based business. If you're joining a team to work on a game and you're approaching the end of the development cycle and you're about to ship, you should be looking for another job. Like, really, you should. Every 2 to 3 years or whatever, that's kind of a dev cycle. You want to make sure that you're looking for another job, because there is no job security in this unless you're the guy running the thing. And even then, there's no job security. It's a very, very risky business. So I think it's nice for me to hear another studio that's far more established than us be like, contractors of the future. We've always been like very clear about that. We don't want to be in the business of employing people. We want to build a team that wants to work on our projects. And if people are not like, yes, absolutely, Warka, focus on contract work. Seriously.
Yeah, like, and we don't say this to sound like callous and
it's not
greedy or anything like that. I think it's like honestly in people's best interest in a lot of cases. If like they're talking about with this Monument Valley thing, giving staff long-term job security it's kind of like a bet that you have to make that like things will be okay in the long term, and like you could do everything right and sometimes it just won't be the case. And then like now I don't know, I've just seen so many cases of people like putting up a second mortgage on their house or something so they can make payroll because they have all these people who depend on them and they're like feeding their families and their health insurance and all of that. And I don't know, it's tough to put yourself in that situation and then have to figure it out when it's not going well. And I think if you can just kind of have like a conversation up front where everybody's on the same page, and like that just isn't going to be the thing, which some people aren't going to be into, but a lot of other people will be, and they'll like the freedom and flexibility to like kind of come and go as they please, and you'll like the ability to pay them for the work they did and then not have to continue to pay them. And it's the way of the future. I've been hearing people tell me this about just various different tech roles for 10 years now, and I think it just becomes more and more prominent every year, and especially now, just with the way everything has been and in the games industry and stuff, like probably going to be kind of the new norm, I would guess.
Warka, I think it is a valid fear that contractors may not be 100% focused. However, I would highly suggest this. Look for contractors in LATAM and Eastern Europe, because those dudes are fucking awesome. They're really good to work with. They're aware of the nature of the business. Anytime I've worked with Eastern European dudes like Croatia and Czechia and just those areas, they're fucking awesome. They really give a shit. And even as contract workers, like they work so fucking hard and they make very cool stuff. They're always engaged. They're very passionate. And I think it's a good idea.
The reality is like you could hire a full-time salaried person with benefits and everything, and they might still not give a shit about your game and work on stuff on the side. And then like that's worse. So
that's much worse for you.
With the contractors, I would probably assume that they probably are going to do that, but that just allows you to kind of like reframe your approach. I think like it doesn't change the fact that you can get it done. You just need to understand that those people don't care about it as much as you, and kind of adjust your approach and expectations accordingly. And I think again, as long as everybody's on the same page and communication is good, like nobody is necessarily going to be unhappy in that situation if you run it right. And
yeah,
I think all of your fears are valid, but like you're thinking about it right, and it sounds like you're kind of out ahead of it. So
I would say, this might be naivete on my part, but I would say consider when you're contracting people, pay them enough to be happy with what they're doing. So maybe you can do like a sliding scale of some shit about how you pay them on deliverables and stuff, but make sure they're happy with what you're paying them. But you're also, keep in mind, you're not in the business of like keeping someone, getting a paycheck. Like don't do that. It's going to be really hard to do, especially with game studio. As you've got one. It's very risky to your own business. And I think that's the point that I was trying to make, is like, always approach it from a candid place of like, this is a gig-based business. When this project is shipped, there will be downtime. We have to reduce operations costs. Otherwise, like, we risk shutting the doors forever. Also, please never get a fucking office building. Don't do it, man. It's such a waste of money. I've worked on some huge projects that are full remote, and they're great. It's totally fine. You can do it. Especially, like I said, if you're working with people, I think the inclination is like, well, if you're getting contract workers, they're cheaper and you can do it that way. They don't have to be cheaper. You can pay them, similar compensation rates to like a Western developer, someone in the US, and like, they're going to be extremely fucking happy with that. But you also need to make sure that they're the right fit. And if it's a contract, it's a lot easier to let them go if they're not, hitting the mark for what you need. When someone gets entangled with like full benefits and you have to have an HR department and all this other shit, it's way harder. It's a bigger burden on the studio. I think there's this like conceit in, if you have hundreds of millions of dollars in funding and you're trying to get the best possible talent, you have to pay people a ton and give them benefits. But if you're like, you know what, we're going to go with talent that's really good and underutilized, you can do it that way, and that will be okay. I'm thinking, when I say the best and brightest and shit like that, I'm thinking of someone like Adder. Adder's incredibly expensive. I don't think I would ever be in a position where we could hire an Adder. I would love to do it, but I think the way it would happen is like, that person is bought in on the idea of the thing we're making, and that's why they want to work with us. I think that's where I want to aim first, instead of just, buying someone's butt to put in a chair so that they do a work. Like, that's the thing I don't want to do.
I don't think if I don't want to speak for Adder here, but I kind of get the sense that like, if some giant corporate AAA studio that didn't look like it would be a good place to work at offered him like an insane amount of money, he would probably rather stay at his current job because he actually likes what he does.
So Warka, the way I've found people is actually through the stream, but also tapping like my network of working in games. I know a ton of fucking people that work in games. Yep. It's a really, really small network of people. Like, it's like the same group of 1,000 people. This is an arbitrary number. It's like the same group of 1,000 people make all of the games. So if you know people, you're chilling.
That's why I said, like, just start with referrals, because even if it's just like somebody who you're like acquainted with and you're just like, hey, do you know somebody who's like a good 3D artist? They're probably not going to send you to somebody who's a bad 3D artist. They're probably, the person they refer is just going to be like, yeah, I worked with this guy before. He's pretty good. That's worth a lot, as opposed to like finding some random guy on LinkedIn who you don't know and nobody else knows, and you're not even sure if they can do the job, and you're going to spend 2 weeks figuring that out. Like, all you need is like somebody who you trust to just vouch and be like, yeah, they can do it. Like, that's going to save you a lot of time and headache and money. And yeah.
So Turning Cog is being a bit like, facetious here by saying that we kidnapped him and 7 out of 10 would recommend. So Turning Cog has been watching the stream for a while, and he's seen all our projects that we're working on. And when we started talking about Dread, he was interested in some of the things we're doing. He asked for some help, from me consulting about game design and stuff with something he was working on. And we chatted about things, and then he was like, I kind of like what you guys are doing. And I was like, dude, if you want to help us with art, we don't have any artists, so it'd be really cool. And he's been on board with the Dread project for a couple months now, and yeah, it's cool. We got him. You know, I think a part of it is like be professional. You know, use Perforce, use like industry standard tools and practices and shit like that, and you're good. Yeah, I just got to get Joel to open his black book and start talking to people. I feel like I'm just in a weird position, so all this is good info to hear. Yeah, dude, that's a part of the stream. Like, as I'm sure you know, this fucking industry is like people don't want to talk. They don't want to share information. And like, I didn't get to where I got out of like pure fucking luck. I talked to people and they were like, hey, if you want to do this, listen to this thing I'm saying and go do this. And then I do it and I'm like, I did this. What do you think? And they're like, that's fucking cool. Let me help you out some more. And it's that kind of a process. So I'm trying to give back. It worked for me. I'm trying to help people get into this and like build the things they want to build and follow their dreams and shit like that. So I think a part of the goal too is like in a gig-based business, someone is going to outgrow a role. And if that role that they want to be in doesn't fit on the project, we can help them go find another thing so that they're happy. And then hopefully when they're done with whatever that is, they want to come back to us, or they go, you know what, you guys are so great. We want to stay. I want to stay with you and work on the next thing. All of that's really cool. And I think keeping it open-ended like that and honest from the beginning is probably really important.
And allowing those people to have the space to kind of do other things and do what they want to do is probably going to come back and benefit you at the end of the day, because they're going to go learn new things or like pick some stuff up from another team. And then, you know, if they like working with you, they're going to bring it back to you and you're going to benefit from it.
Yeah, actually, Tony wrote a really good thing in chat, Warka. I don't know if you're following the state of the industry, but right now is a great fucking time to hire some people. I think the danger you're facing is that people are going to expect a ton of fucking money and like full benefits and shit like that. So I would say, you know, have some conversations, stay open-minded, but if people are not interested in that and they want like what's best for them and that doesn't align with your goals, don't fucking hire them. And also like, so I'll throw this out there. This is a little weird. It might be easier for you, especially with your business partner, to go travel to some conventions, go to PAX, so there's a really cool one in Croatia that the Eastern European game devs told me about called Reboot Blue in Zagreb. If you guys can make it out to that, I think you'll be like, holy fuck, this is sick. It sounds like there's this burgeoning community of very dedicated European game devs that go to Reboot Blue. And that seems a fucking great place to build your network some more. It's in Zagreb, which is gorgeous. So yeah, check that out. I've wanted to go and check it out. I think it'd be really cool. But yeah, it's going to be expensive. You got to fly to Croatia and like, you know, hang out for a long weekend or a week. But yeah, I think it'd be cool. Even just co-working on my own shit, having somebody to bounce an idea off of is super helpful for productivity. I'm glad you like it, Turning Cog. LFQ got to where he is today because of luck. I don't believe that. I think you got to where you are today because you are a hard worker and you are focused on the things that matter. I think finding one of the AAA artists would be amazing, but it might be expensive for the realism I need. Expensive is all relative. I watched Joel buy $1,600 jeans when we were in Vegas. Yo, that's real as fuck, dude. I'm not going to be buying $1,600 pairs of jeans, bro. But I mean, even if I like had the money to buy $1,600 pairs of jeans, I'd probably be like, I don't think this is fucking worth it. I say that, and I've got, you know, some pairs of pants that are like $250, but I liked them a lot. So I don't know. To each their own. He called it a tax write-off because he wears them on stage. That is literally a tax write-off for real. Costume. Were they covered in mermaid tears? I don't think so, Turning Cog. They're probably designer made, and you know, he got that shit on. He needs that drip, dude, when he's out there with the helmet.
You probably put them on and immediately lit up a cigarette.
Yes, dude. I was gonna say I think it's funny that you call him Joel, because like the things that I've learned from watching his stream is if you know him, you call him Joel. You're not parasocial. You just call him Joel. Actually, he did. Yeah.
I mean, you can just assume if he's breathing. He's smoking a cig, but yeah.
I can relate. I got the fucking Zinni in right now, man. I smoked for way too long, so I don't do that anymore. I'm 42, by the way, Warka. So I've been at it for a long time. I think I started making games in my late 20s and got my first like full-time professional job as a game designer when I was like 29 or 30 or something like that. So, I started later, but this is always what I've wanted done, and I've wanted to do. I'm never going back. Like hopefully, like this will keep working, and I can find success in doing my own thing. I have a very strong personality, and I have conviction in my creative process and like the creative vision I have. And a part of that was like I always had a dream of doing my own thing, and getting the job at Bungie helped me take big risks and cut my teeth on like a huge fucking product that made massive amounts of money and like make something that I thought was risky but could be very cool, and it was very successful. So that reinforced for me I could do this. I gotta figure it out, build a team, and all this other stuff. And that's what we've been doing with Fractal Grove. Last game I worked on before starting full-time Fractal Grove was Return to Moria. I was a senior/lead designer on that team. You've known him for 5 years now? That's cool, man. How did you guys meet, actually? 20th year of doing this hobby? Dude, yeah. You're a grizzled veteran. And it sounds like you found your own way, which is very, very hard to do. You met on Twitch? Oh, so you were in chat calling him Joel? I'm just fucking with you, dude. Nice. That's awesome, man. That's cool. Twitch is an incredibly powerful networking tool. Like Turning Cog joined our team just from Twitch, right? Talking with Adder, if you've seen him floating around. You were the guy in chat calling him an idiot. Nice, dude. But yeah, if you've seen Adder in chat in software and game dev, Adder's a fucking real dude. Like he worked on Destiny with me from a third-party studio. So like that's how we started chatting, and like we talked to Adder a lot. Yeah, he's a very cool dude. When I was out in Texas at the beginning of March, we went to go visit him. He's very cool, man. We hung out, like brought us over to his house, and like got to see his race cars and shit. He's cool as fuck. I'm retired, but I'm in my 30s, so I'm taking classes for fun. Goddamn, Cyborg, flexing on chat right now. Hell yeah, dude. Congratulations on your early retirement. I mean, dude, that's kind of the dream. Like,
did you buy like a Bored Ape when they first came out?
Bored Ape. Yeah, Cyborg, big NFT guy.
Yep.
So Cyborg have always had this idea. I love physics. I love science, and I want to independently study physics at a university. I'd be the old guy in the classes with a bunch of like 19-year-olds and shit, but I don't give a fuck. It sounds fun to me. So yeah,
I would go back and take some like crazy math classes for sure. Just to get better at it. Yeah. Just
for fun and like knowledge and growth. Like that sounds
make really me better at game dev. So yeah.
This is my midlife crisis. Cheaper than a convertible and girlfriend. I mean, yeah, I guess so. Turning Cog. If you are experiencing a midlife crisis, brother, let's talk about it. I don't want you to feel bad about that. I've had some friends have some serious fucking crash outs with midlife crisis, and it's crazy. Yeah, I met LFQ on Twitch. We were both modding a channel together. That's like 15 fucking years ago. That was a long time ago. Yeah, well before I was a game dev. I'm the mechanical engineer, Unk. Hell yeah, dude. I'm just memeing. Yeah, I know you are, Turning Cog. You like the self-deprecating stuff. Yeah, I get it. Okay, so that was Monument Valley. I talked about that. We're probably not going to get through all the topics today, but I'll talk about some more stuff tomorrow. Let's see. There were some things that I thought were interesting. So I talked about Shuhei Yoshida. He was the former head of Sony Global or whatever, worldwide, something like that. And he left in like 2019 because he, spoke out saying that he had a conflict with Jim Ryan, who is the new head of SIE. And he was basically like, yeah, live services ain't it, champ, let's fucking go in a different direction. And he refused to do that shit. So Jim Ryan was like, get the fuck out of here. And then, of course, in the intervening years, we watched them purchase Bungie for $3 billion. And Marathon is not a failure, but it's not doing as well as they probably needed it to do with hundreds of millions of dev costs. For Concord, Tony, that's coming through your mic, by the way. No, you're good. For Concord, we saw that be a huge fucking problem for Sony, massive loss. So Shuhei Yoshida might have been spitting and telling him the truth that he didn't want to fucking hear. Did you want to talk about the DRM thing that Sony was doing, Tony? So it looks like yeah, PlayStation has seemingly added a 30-day DRM check to all newly purchased digital PS4 and PS5 games. So what this might mean, because I think people are not sure about how it shakes out yet, is that if you buy a game online or digital release of a game on a PlayStation, you might have to get back online within 30 days to prove that it wasn't pirated or some shit, and then you may not be able to play it, which is kind of weird. Maybe they're trying to combat piracy in other markets and just rolling it out worldwide. This is strange. Sony's obviously, all the platforms are kind of struggling right now. We've been talking about Microsoft with Asha Sharma and, the internal memo that was saying they were going to get rid of exclusivity, but like maybe they're not going to do that anymore. Games Pass pricing changes and brackets and dropping COD from Game Pass.
It's more looking like they're forcing you to connect your console to the internet and validate against their servers periodically.
Yeah, thank you.
Somebody's saying that he had a disc copy of Crimson Desert and Pragmata that both ran without issue because there was no checks on their validity, but 2 games that he purchased after the reports emerged, however, failed to run with an error message saying you cannot use this content, cannot connect to the server to verify your license. So, yeah, like you could potentially, I guess, buy a new game from a game store, which is, I guess, not that common these days, but people still do it for sure, and then take it home, and if you had never connected your console to the internet, you wouldn't be able to play it.
So I think the controversy here is that Sony didn't tell people they were doing this, and they just did it. And people are like, yo, what the fuck? I bought this. This is mine.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, if you don't connect to the internet, you can't fucking play your game that you bought.
Also, it could mean, I just thought of this. I didn't like read this or anything, but like, what about like a used copy of a game that like somebody already activated or not, enabled the license on their Sony account? Like, that's probably coming down the pipe.
Yep. And I mean, this is all, I think, tangentially related to SKG, right? Like, yeah. I feel like this is the type of shit that SKG should be like fighting and not saying like, I want to play my game forever, even though this is an online only game as a service. Like, that's crazy. You can't do that. But stuff like this, you should definitely be able to push back on.
If you buy a game on disc and you're like, want to lend it to your friend or something, a thing that we've been doing since the beginning of gaming, and you can't do that anymore, like, that's crazy.
Oh, LFQ is saying this is something SKG is fighting. Good.
That's good.
This I agree with. They should absolutely fight this because this is kind of bullshit. Actually, no, it's not even kind of bullshit. This is bullshit. Yeah. I think that it's really weird to eke out an extra copy by like some legalese nonsense where they can like do this and exploit the gamer a little more. We need to stop that shit. This is right to repair adjacent, so I'm more down with activists yelling about this shit. Yes, I am too, actually. On the channel, we've been vocally opposed to SKG in general with the idea of forcing games as a service to remain online. So my statement about that, unfortunately, is like somewhat aligned with Pirate in what he's said, but I think he's done a very bad job of explaining himself, and he has a lot of negative press, so people really fucking don't like this guy. The thing that I was saying is that the result of it is if you involve governments and like the legal system gets to be a part of it, what you're going to see is people just stop making games as a service. You're just not going to get them.
It's kind of like the Monument Valley thing. It's just like, get a little too romantic about the notion of like an online game staying online forever, and you don't really think about like the practicality of what that's going to mean down the road. It's the same with, you know,
it's
promising
not
people that you're going to support them even when your company has no more money left and you got to take out a second mortgage on your house or something. Like,
I think the gamers are coming from like kind of a noble place. Like the idea is not terrible. They just haven't thought it through very well in, you know, going, well, like game dev, just make it so that you can play this thing forever. And that's like a fundamental architectural change. That shit isn't free. It costs time and money and a lot of resources. And oftentimes, especially the budgets for these huge games as a service, that just means that it's not going to pass muster and it won't get funded, and they'll have to make something entirely different. So
something I have seen since it started is I've seen games that kind of like advertise how their networking works now as like part of the pitch of like, this does not have like a persistent backend. It's P2P.
Yep.
It will work forever. Like I've seen that in trailers and stuff now. So the consumers are becoming informed about the topic, which is definitely an interesting update.
Yeah, I think the whole SKG movement is just coming from a place of, and I mean this not in a derisive way, they're coming from a place of ignorance where they've not made video games and they don't understand like the real costs that can like kill a project before it even starts. And so you could have this idea to make something really, really, really fucking cool, but it has to always be online. You're just going to see that shit die entirely, which I think on one hand is good because we have a lot of slop games as a service that are just very bad business decisions and they cost hundreds of millions of dollars. We'll see that come to an end. But at the same time, like a smaller project that's really cool, like it's going to not succeed. Like you'll never get an MMO again, you know? And maybe that's a good thing. I think MMOs are an anachronism and people just don't want to fucking play MMOs anymore. But I don't know. So yeah, that's just kind of my take on this whole SKG thing. I don't like what Sony's doing with this. You have to validate your fucking software online. I really don't like that. If the timers are the new standard going forward, should Sony ever turn off the PS4, PS5 servers in the future? Players would have to rely on a CMOS reboot or like whatever, you pull the battery out of your console in order to verify your game to reset the timer. That sounds horrible. But this is for games that were purchased after mid-April 2026 is what people are saying.
This is probably why they're not doing PC games anymore too. So
Yep.
they wouldn't be able to enforce the system.
I guess this popped up in 2021. Players were saying that a dead or removed CMOS battery would render games unplayable on the console. Tony, you're thumping again.
Sorry.
No, you're good, bro. For whatever reason, yeah, your mic was just picking it up, and it doesn't typically, but it is like loud. Turning frog, dude. What's up with that pixel frog? Oh, your mic stand broke. That's what happened, dude. Your mic stand wasn't picking it up before. Yeah. Sony's advocating for people to open their own consoles. I think they're not. I think they want you to not open your own console. They want you to just be online. And my guess is, one, it combats piracy, and two, they can push fucking ads to you on the internet. I see. I missed the cap on my bad, bro. Yeah. No, I got you.
The thing that happens to me is I want to play Bloodborne like once a year, and whenever I want to play Bloodborne, I bought it on the PlayStation Online store. And if your PS4 isn't updated, you can't launch any online game until your PS4 is updated. Since I haven't played my PS4 in like a year at this point, I generally have to wait like 2 hours for it to update, and then I can play Bloodborne. And that happens to me every time I want to play Bloodborne.
And that fucking PS4 Nick is bad.
I have like an OG
man.
PS4. It is slow as hell. Like, yeah.
I fucking hated updates on that. It took forever. The like rate of downloading the update is abysmal. And I just don't know why they think that's acceptable.
And the Switch is the same way. Like, you cannot play any game that you bought on the store on the Switch if your Switch isn't updated. It takes forever. And I pull my Switch out so often that, you know, I have to update it every time I want to play something, and very annoying.
Yeah, that fucking sucks.
The guy is funding a Bloodborne animated movie. I don't think we talked about it being animated when we talked about it originally.
It's animated?
Animated.
I thought it was live action.
I did too, but it is animated. I'm pretty sure confirmed.
Yes, he is Brightside. We definitely have talked about it. I thought it was weird. But it sounds like Septic Eye is trying to be like, guys, I know what this is. I know how it's supposed to go.
Sounds like he's just purely motivated by the fact that he loves Bloodborne. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his public statement. You know, if he says anything otherwise, like that's gonna harm the film. So,
I mean, it's much better than we've never played the fucking game and we're gonna do our own thing with it. Like we get plenty of that. So.
Yeah, we got the Halo show. What was the other fucking guy that was like super proud to say that he's not a gamer? God of War.
God of War. Yep.
The fucking God of War director, man. Holy shit. That guy was bragging. He's like, huh, yeah, I don't know about this shit. Like, I don't play games. I'm not a gamer. That means I'm gonna make it better. And I'm just like, dude, why are you dipping your toes into a medium that you don't understand if you're going to like talk shit about it too and say like, you know, imply that film is a more elevated art form? Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Nobody, you're trying to make a product that gamers would consume. You're not making, you know, no one's gonna watch the God of War movie that isn't a gamer. That's fucking crazy.
The gaming industry makes like 50x what the movie industry does in a year or two or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's way fucking bigger. You don't have phones? Yeah. I mean, obviously that was a mistake, Cyborg. But yeah, I just like I like, guys, it's fucking great for us as indies because these dudes are just dropping the bag so fucking hard. Like they're making mistakes because they don't understand what the fuck they're working in. LFQ says, I'd 100 times rather have a YouTuber who really likes a game do their thing than some big shot director who wants to put their own spin on it. Absolutely, LFQ. I totally agree with that. Yes, I agree, Tony. That guy's probably sitting there like, I will never live this down. I fucked my whole career up by saying that.
Yep.
Or he's just so rich he doesn't give a shit anyway. Because he could be. He could be like wealthy, you know. They don't usually put the fucking, you know, the passion employees that are really caring about the thing up on the stage to talk at a convention. They put like the suit who is very carefully, you know, trained for public speaking and shit like that. That's why if you guys ever watch those pressers, you're like, who the fuck is this guy and why does he like sound so stiff and all that? It's because he's rehearsed the thing 9,000 times and he doesn't really fucking know what he's talking about. I think a good example was Game Awards when what's her name, the Blizzard person, announced the new WoW expansion. Zero feeling, emotion, or understanding of what WoW is, and it was the most lackluster like Blizzard cool new thing for WoW that I've ever seen. It was like crickets in the fucking room when she announced player housing and shit. And I'm just like, this is probably something that WoW players have wanted for a very long time. You know, it's crazy. He probably left the country. Yeah, I mean,
I think he still works there. I'm pretty sure he showed up on stage again sometime after that. So like, he didn't get fired over that or anything.
But, no, dude's got a paycheck, man. He's gonna be too integrated in that leadership.
Like you said, he's probably a guy who actually is passionate about the project and like was getting up there to talk about it. And like, I don't know, but. Speaking of weird mobile games that are spin-offs of games that we actually like, did you see they put the mobile Division game on PC?
What the fuck? No.
Like the other day, there was like a mobile game from the Division, and then they put it on PC the other day, and people said it was bad. I don't know. I haven't looked into it too much. I just saw that headline and meant to bring it up.
Yeah, I don't want to play that.
Yeah.
Guys, I'll say this. Kind of crazy, just being a game developer. I think phones are bad. They're bad for all of us. Like
phone gaming is never taken off and doesn't seem like it's gonna.
Yeah, I think. Well, mobile gaming is fucking massive in Asia.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like in the West, like I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, people play games on PCs. They used to play games on consoles, but it seems like the market has shifted and everyone's playing games on PCs now. But yeah, I think I've said it so many times. I think it's the business people getting into this industry because they know there's a lot of money in games and they don't understand why people play games. They don't even play games themselves. And that's the problem. Cyborg says, I don't let my kid phone game, but maybe that's too much. Nah, I think
them.
that's great, dude. That's really good. I've said it before. There's a book.
Yeah, get them on a PC like a real fucking gamer.
Yeah. Or a console. You know, Nintendo consoles are pretty safe. So if you want to get your kid on a console like that makes sense. But I've said it before that, like, there's this book called Irresistible: The Rise of Addictive Technology by Adam Alter that I thought as a game designer was a very good. I audiobooked it. The author is a clinical psychologist specializing in addiction, and he talks about how these same psychological mechanisms that occur in, you know, drug addiction or like gambling addiction, these destructive life behaviors, exist in technology. It extends all the way to the most mundane shit like Gmail. Like, you are being conditioned to check your Gmail at certain intervals because there's ad placement, and it's not your fault. It's the an army of designers and people working to get your attention. So there's, you know, hundreds or in some cases thousands of people working to make you want to engage with this thing. But on the back end as a user, you're like, I just really like this. And you don't realize that you've been conditioned to like it through push notifications and alerts and, you know, screen checking, the camera looking at you, knowing when you're looking at your phone, that there's algorithms that fucking time that shit to create a behavioral pattern in you. And as long as you're aware that's what's going on, you can be okay. I'm going off about digital and electronic products conditioning people for addiction behaviors. That's what I'm talking about, Warka. There's a book that you know, I listen to because I'm a game designer, called Irresistible: The Rise of Addictive Technology by Adam Alter. And he's a clinical psychologist that studied addiction. It was talking about how the same behavioral patterns are exhibited in technology consumers that are shown in like drug addicts or gambling addicts, people that have these very life destructive behaviors that are developed. So social media is one of those. And Cyborg, the reason people do it is because there's an army of people designing experiences for behavioral patterns. That's why. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's not your fault. It's everybody. Like, these guys are experts. They know what they're fucking doing. And it's unregulated, and you got to be careful. Really, really careful. My phone permanently is on do not disturb. And I will check my phone every couple of hours to make sure I didn't miss anything. So, you know, if someone is messaging me or whatever and I don't respond immediately, that's why. I make sure to consciously disconnect. And the reason is because, you know, I've been smoking cigarettes since I was like 14. Nicotine is something that's just always a part of my physiology now. So I'm familiar with what addiction feels like. And I was noticing behavioral patterns of going like, oh, I should look at my phone and, like, you know, just start fucking with it. And I would feel the same kind of compulsion as like, go smoke a cigarette. I was feeling the exact same feelings. And so I was like, how do I beat this? Because you have to have a phone. You have to use email. You have to be on the internet just to be a functional member of society nowadays, right? Like, you just do. If you're not doing that, you're severely inhibiting your ability to be an effective professional. So I leave my shit on do not disturb. I make sure to be very careful with how much I engage with screens. And it's hard because I'm on screens all the time, all day, you know, more so than your average bear. Although now that I think about it, I remember Burnout was telling me he had like a screen time checker and he was watching like fucking 6 hours of TikTok every day. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing that's so bad for you? Brightside said mobile games turned my dad gay. Which mobile game? LFQ said relatable. Wait, who's farming balls?
LFQ's farming balls.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were, yeah. The EULA talk, yeah, exactly. As long as you don't message someone and then disappear immediately, I hate it and respond right. Yeah, no, I don't do that. I'm engaged in the conversation if I'm messaging someone back. And then I wait for it to, like, you know, conversation died down. Yeah, Mr. Feet is here. Brightside about to be talking about toes. Mr. Respond immediately and get ghosted. Oh shit. Everyone's coming after Brightside today, bro. I mean, yeah, he just mobile games
for sure.
Yeah. He makes this comment about mobile games and then is just vanishing.
Yep.
That is classic Brightside. I don't hold it against him. It's fine. But yeah, if you guys want, if you're making games and stuff and you want to know more about like these mechanisms, and I mean, I'm talking about like Fitbit. It's crazy. So Alter did a study on Fitbits, and for people, what's the one specific to running? Is it Fitbit?
I got Garmin, Fitbit.
Yeah, Garmin. That's the one I was thinking of. So he was studying Garmin's and Fitbits and behavioral patterns in people. And rest is a very, very important part of physical training, right? And if you're a hobbyist runner and you're using one of these fitness trackers, they are designed with goals, short lists of goals. Like he breaks down all these mechanisms that create behavioral patterns in people, and it helps you start to see when you're being conditioned. So I want to say the book is listed under self-help, but he doesn't give you any advice on how to combat these things. All he does is expose these mechanisms so that you can be like, oh shit, I see what's happening here. And then you can start to see your own behavioral patterns and be like, I don't want to fucking engage with this anymore. Like I'm wasting time. I could be doing something else with my life, but for some reason I checked Reddit, every 15 minutes for the last 6 hours, right? Like that's a behavioral pattern. It's not. What?
I was just going to say, I remember when you told me, like, I turn off notifications on every single app on my phone, just like blanket. The second I install it, I say no notifications. And I thought you were crazy at first. And then, like, over time, like 100%, I do exactly the same thing. Because you like get in this mindset, you're like, I'm going to miss something. Like, something really important is going to happen. And it's not going to notify me. And it's like, we didn't even have these things before. Like, it'll be okay. Like,
the weirdest part about
it, I totally came around on that.
I think your compulsion isn't wrong.
Yeah.
But the thing you have to consider is that there's like 1,000 people that sat there making you feel that way.
I
thought about how to make you feel that way. And that's the whole fucking point.
You got to like break yourself out of that first before you can do anything. Yeah.
The good news is that it's not a physiological chemical addiction. It can become one if you don't disengage with it and cut yourself off from it. But it's not the same intensity as like a nicotine addiction or like alcoholism or being a heroin addict, right? It's not the same because those, yes, the same behavioral consequences are there, but it's easier to break those things because you don't have a physiological dependency on a chemical intake. So when you have both of those things combined, it's way harder to break addiction. But that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that these digital products that we engage with, video games fucking do it. Okay. So like Destiny fucking did it. Like Destiny bounties are an addiction pipeline. They really are. And, I'm not trying to say that people did this intentionally or not. But just consider it. There's a lot of people thinking about how to get people. So I'll explain this. There's a concept in a game with microtransactions that, there's a conversion to spend when people invest time. So it's adjacent to the sunk cost fallacy, but it's not the same thing. The mechanism that makes you feel like, well, I spent all this time on this thing, I might as well see it through to the end. That behavioral compulsion is the same thing in a game with microtransactions, because they want you to engage for a certain amount of time. The simplest way to understand it is if you play a game for 5 to 10 hours and you're like, I don't really want to buy that $10 skin for this thing because I kind of play this casually. If you play that game for 120 hours, you're like, what's another $5? I love this game. I'm having a great time. That's by design. It might seem like they're doing you a favor and making it a good value proposition, but that is by design. They want you to engage with this thing at a certain rate because your likelihood of converting to a microtransactional spend is statistically way fucking higher. There are specific breakpoints. They depend on different, the different kind of products, but you create behavioral patterns in people that allow you to gain more money from them as a consumer, as a part of your audience. And that's the dangerous thing that I try to warn you guys about. I think it's no secret we're not fans of games as a service. We don't ever fucking want to make those. I think they're really bad. I'm not saying that it's a smart idea to create off ramps in a game. I mean, I've worked on stuff where that was like a core idea and it always went poorly because it definitely affected the bottom line. And the reason why you can't stick to that is if you develop a model, a business model, the structure for your product that depends on these conversions to microtransactions, you've already gone too far down that road. You can't undo it, and be like, oh, this is ethical now. I'm not, conditioning people to do this. No, your whole business model is based on that. So start off with, don't fucking do that. I like making games that is a boxed product that someone goes, this was cool. I had a good experience. I would buy another game from them, but I finished this game and set it down. I think that's very normal and healthy. Daily login bonus, battle pass, exactly, turning cog. That is exactly it. LFQ, I fucking flipped all the way around to turning off vibrate because I noticed that the vibrations were coming through on certain notifications that I didn't even allow. And it was like, hey, you got a new email. And then I'm looking at my fucking phone again when I didn't want to look at my phone, and I'm just stuck. What's up, VivVR? Oh, sorry, VibVer. It's going well, man. We're a little over today, so we're probably going to wrap up soon, but I'm talking about, addictive products, digital products, and engagement models and stuff like that. Speakerphone in the grocery store about makes me violent. Yes, speakerphone in the grocery store is crazy behavior in public. But yeah, LFQ, be careful with the vibration too, because that's still doing the same thing. It's making you look at the thing when you don't want to look at it. You're compelled to look at it. Grind 40 hours to spend $100. Yeah, I mean, that's similar, turning cog. That is a more blatant fucking way to get someone to get back in and engage more. I think that is a little predatory. That's impressively annoying, but impressive nonetheless. Wait, I missed that. I saw guys once. Wait, where'd you say? Did chat eat your message?
He said, I saw a guy once have a loud phone conversation while also listening to loud music on the same phone. That shit takes dedication.
That's so fucking annoying. I really wish people would not do that. And there's no way we can. I don't even fucking know. It takes a huge cultural change, and like everyone in the society you live in has to be bought into that culture to not allow it. The reason I say that is because I think about like phone usage on a train in Japan, extremely taboo. You're not supposed to look at your phone when you're on the train. Like you can, but you might catch like a scowl from an older person. If you're having a phone call on a train, people will walk up to you and tell you, no, don't do that. This is a personal anecdote. I wasn't on the phone. I was in Japan with some friends from college, and this dude was making a phone call on a train, and an old lady who didn't speak English walked up and like gently pushed his phone down, and it was like, no, don't do that. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. And then like ended his call and shit. But yeah, I was like, yeah, dude, fucking that's the way to go. That's how you stop people being degens in public. So it takes like a full culture to everyone has to be bought in.
Are we gonna watch this Alien trailer real quick?
Yeah, let's get it.
Oh, it is very short. You're right.
I mean, we got blinking light and then a logo.
It kind of looks like it's maybe on like a planet surface, so that could be interesting.
Okay. What was the CA logo? I recognize that, but I can't fucking remember. Is that the studio?
I think so, yeah.
Looks like they're taking the Aliens arc, some sort of settlement. Creative Assembly, thank you. That's it. I had to fight Steam for more than an hour yesterday to up to my Steam password. Yikes, dude. That sucks. Yeah, he's going to Austin this weekend to have final cultural interview. Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, very happy to hear that, Sushi. Hopefully that means you have a little time to do some dread work. That'd be cool. But also no pressure. Don't worry about it if you're too busy. Yeah, oh hey. Means I can help out with dread more. That's it. Let's fucking go, dude. Maybe Sushi will finally get some sun. I don't know, dude. Those Washington boys don't need to get in the sun. He will fucking crisp up like a lobster or whatever, you know? Crisp is the wrong word for that. Yeah, you gross, correct. 100% you want to get back to helping us out. Thank you, man. Yeah, dude, you're going to be shocked with how different Dread is. I don't know when the last time was that you played it or checked it out, but there's fucking sick stuff in there now. We're over that middle point. You know, we're over the hump. We just need to like finish some things off and then just start polishing and bug fixing and we'll be good. You still been looking at the Discord stuff? Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, Tony has made some crazy breakthroughs. Like the forest looks fucking incredible now. The tech for the yeah, so you guys don't know this, but the one of the levels that Turning Cog is working on, we called Spoon Man because I've been calling it Black Sun or like Black Hole Sun. So yeah, so the Spoon Man level, we got some really good tech for the my house.wad loop hallways in there. Tony checked in some things yesterday, so it's going to give me a lot of buttons and levers to tweak for good game design, which is awesome. Yeah, I see what you did there, Tony.
As I was writing it, I was like, not the actual forest, no pun intended.
LFQ wants to know if Blue Husbando is still in the game. Yes, he exists in some places. Oh, but LFQ, the player character is no longer Blue Husbando. The player character is like, he got legs and arms and shit.
Like a whole body.
Yeah, he doesn't have a head because
the he has a head. It's just 0% scale. So
yeah, his head is like 0 scale, so it's like a singularity. So you can't see the head through the camera. It's pretty funny.
No, Sushi, that would be extremely helpful though. I don't know how much of the like HDR conversation you were around for, but that's a whole part of it. And I've just been fiddling with it for a long time, and I don't know what I don't know, and you're probably better at it than I am. So yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that whenever you have some time.
And also, I guess LFQ, Blue Husbando is probably going to turn into Ethereal Ghost Lady. Fucking Turning Cog has been doing a bunch of like, asset research and finding us things that we could replace them with, because that fits more in theme. So like, as funny as the Blue Michelin Man is, that's definitely not something we're going to ship. It would be very immersion breaking. We could do some kind of an Easter egg though. So think about it like this, Tony. I've been thinking about the lake tower a bunch. If you go up like 7 floors, you get an exit and you can come out and there's like Blue Husbando in there.
I definitely want to do some stuff like you go around the loop hallway 13 times, or you go up a certain amount of floors or something, and like every single one is the same except for just one random fucking one. Yeah, no, absolutely. Same page.
Ghost boobs. I mean, yeah, I guess we got to find the right character model. The ones we were looking at
from Turning Cog, that's probably what it's going to end up being. So
yeah, Turning Cog, you need that. What the fuck do they call it? I don't know my anime stuff very well. It's like Opa slider or some shit like that for the bust size. But yeah, you need that in there. Turning Cog, eternal victim from everyone in the community. I need to get beat up by the women in the community. All
Turning Cog's into getting beat up by women.
Yep. Bro's just talking about his kinks right now. Absolutely happy to help. Just got to get some free time and maybe a few more weeks. Yeah, of course, dude. I totally understand that. Yeah. I appreciate you not, just staying in communication and being like, yeah, I do want to help. I want to give you guys some more time. I just got to square things away. Appreciate that. That's awesome, man. You don't kink shame? I mean, I will kink shame. But no, it's fine. Live your truth. Everybody be happy. Do the thing you want to do. AAA Battery. What's up, dude? Anyone watching the Mall series? I don't know what the Mall series is. Yeah, LFQ says I'm not watching any series at the moment. I've been watching, this weekend I was watching Euphoria, And that show was like fucking my mood up real bad. I was feeling so anxious and like overwhelmed. And I was like, I need a comfort show. And I just went back to Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations. So I've just been like chilling on that. I fucking love that show, man. There was a different time in entertainment where everything wasn't about cranking your fucking stress hormone levels through the roof. And it was a simpler time. And it's just really nice to watch a dude like go to a place he's never been, meet some interesting people, eat some good food, talk about a foreign culture. Very fucking cool. Sushi, I like Adventure Time too, but I can't like really get into long form Adventure Time. Some of the episodes are like really weird, but then like Marceline the Vampire was cool as fuck. You know, like some of the plot lines are sick. Now everything is like Black Mirror. Exactly, Vib. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think there's a time and place for that. But like my take on Euphoria is like this shit is absurd. It reminded me a lot of like Breaking Bad, but they would have like an episode or a couple episodes around some bad decisions some of the characters made and like the repercussions of that. In every episode of Euphoria is every character making some of the worst possible fucking decisions. It's like a never-ending uncut gems, if that makes sense. If you guys have seen that, or like a never-ending good time, you know? Tony was telling me Euphoria is modern Degrassi, but yeah, I didn't get the reference because I'm too old for Degrassi, honestly. Dude, Alone is so good, Cyborg.
Alone is really good.
Shit. I love that shit. But to be fair, you may not be able to unsee this or unhear it. Alone uses a lot of barely audible bass tones to fuck with your feel, like your emotional state when you're watching it. So start paying attention to like the audio track. You start to hear this like rumbling or like heartbeat sounds that are like barely perceptible. And I can never unhear them now because I realized it one day. So when I did that, it kind of made the show a little easier, but I'd be like, man, why is my anxiety high right now? And I'm like, oh, it's because the music is like thump, thump, whoa, like shit like that in the background. Yeah, take it easy, LFQ. Have a good night. Or rest of your day.
We should probably try to get it wrapped up here ourselves.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you're right, Vib. All of the internet is either slop or rage bait. Yep. I mean, that's what we're trying to not do that, you know. I saw Devs for the first time rather recently. That was super good. Dude, Devs was great. I really like Devs. That's a cool show. Have you seen that, Tony? Nick Offerman? No. It's sci-fi, like Otherland, Electric State kind of adjacent vibes, a little bit of like fucking Ex Machina.
Is it recent?
No, this is a couple years ago.
Is it like after Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, I haven't really heard about that. I'll have to look into it.
You should definitely check it out. It's very interesting.
Any idea where'd you watch it, Sushi? Where do I watch it?
It might have been Prime Video.
Okay.
I just tried to grab my mouse and grabbed a Zyn can instead. Let's see.
Hulu. Okay.
Yeah,
cool, yeah, I'll check it out.
100%. It's really good. It's pretty intense, admittedly. The main character reminded you of your ex. Are you talking about the blonde girl with the short hair, or because I can't remember? Baby Reindeer recently, so you can only imagine. Dude, what the fuck is Baby Reindeer?
I like just saw a baby reindeer.
I like that, Cyborg. I like when the music makes me feels mostly concerned about them dropping the fish. Yeah, dude, you can't drop that fish. You're gonna die, bro. It's too cold. The short-haired woman? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because she was, holy shit, man. That character is crazy. I don't want to say anything, but mannerisms and stoic attitude was like spot on to my ex. Yikes, brother. I can understand why that's an ex now. Yeah, that's tough. Okay, sweet. Okay. Oh, AAA Battery said Darth Maul. Okay, so it's like a Star Wars series on Darth Maul. Interesting. Yeah.
It's an 3D animated series, yeah.
Star Wars doesn't hit for me as well anymore. I'm highly skeptical. Last thing I watched was Ahsoka, and it started really strong and then just it was bad. because Sushi mentioned the X, so I mentioned the show Baby Reindeer.
I don't know that
what
one.
The fuck is Baby Reindeer? I've seen it pop up, but I don't know shit about it. I'm gonna look this up and then we will call it. If you guys know of anyone we should raid, holler at us.
Looks like Warco's on. We can go there.
Oh, Warka, yeah, dude. Well, let's guys, Warka came through. Let's go say what's up to Warka. Vib, are you saying Baby Reindeer's good, or is it like fucked up and crazy? Autobiographical one-man show. It's on Netflix. All right, I'll give it a shot. Take a look at it. It's fucked up and crazy. I mean, I do like fucked up and crazy. All right, sweet. We're gonna go to Warka. Warka 101. Everybody say what's up to Warka. Give him a high five, or drop trees in chat. If you got a gift sub from LFQ, say what's up. And we will see y'all tomorrow. We're gonna keep on the same stuff. Dread is cranking along. I'm doing some blockouts for Turning Cog, so I don't know that we necessarily want to show stuff. We're at the point where we really don't want to give away a lot of the sauce that's going on. So here we go.
Peace out.
Oh, it might be too late. I just fucking